Disclaimer, these are my thoughts and commentary, opinions only. I am no independent journalist. I know I talk about a lot of important topics, but please know it's all my opinions for entertainment purposes only. And anything could get brought up. Trigger warning on all adult or traumatizing subjects. I I know I can't help myself. I have two very different topics, but I uploaded a video today that was about prepping. What I think is some good, like most of us can't be coming up and stuff. I just thought it would be a good time. Everything on the list, I guess you could well under $1,000 and be to go with water filtration, fire, and the power bank. Oh, hey Keith, how are you doing? And that power bank 4 years ago when we got it was $500. Okay, it did come with a kit with some panels, whatever it was. My husband probably gonna correct me, but it was so much more expensive. And now it's $250 at Walmart for the power bank that you can charge it through solar panels, you can charge it, through a wall socket, you can charge it with the car. Now, the car charging takes a long time, but hey, Pyramid, how are you? With everything, if worst case, it'd be best, to have alternative forms of charging it up. But I was really excited when I saw that because I'm like, well, okay, so that charges like the refrigerator, and you need to be charging it every day. So, like, ideally have the solar panels, but, anyways, and your other electronics, but not really anything that heats. Spend $500,000. So I know I put in the title first, it was talking about Epstein. I brought this subject up before. Some of you have probably heard about it before, but when people talk about everything going on with Epstein, I often think about Boystown. Now, this was an unaired PBS documentary that was on YouTube for years. And oh, it's fine, Keith. Pyramid saying that made me smile because I don't think he's a type of man that would usually be like, smile, you know what I mean? Like, hey, honey. So there was this Boys Town documentary. It was unaired. Like the night before they were going to put it on PBS, they took it down. Apparently, I think it was aired in Canada or something. So it's like out there, was on YouTube for years, and then it was taken down for years. I just felt like looking it up tonight and I saw somebody uploaded it 5 months ago. There's like I didn't wanna post it on my page because some of the things that are said in it are just downright graphic. It involves children, young, like 10 years to 14, 16 years, I believe. And the way that I mean, I wasn't surprised. I had watched it before too. I just don't remember the graphic language. So, anyways, I'm doing well. How are you, cold killer? So there is Okay, this was a politician named Larry King, and this was in the 80s, okay? Not the Larry King who was on TV for decades. This is a different person. And a lot of people implicated him. There was several young people who implicated him as well as other politicians, millionaires. I'm having trouble deciphering. They keep saying Allen. It sounds like Bear. It's like this millionaire that's affiliated with all of this. I'm sure with more research, like I try to find Larry King and Alan, I'll be able to find it, but couldn't figure out if it was Bayer, or what exactly his last name was. But the point is, like, when you learn about these things that have like just been festering in our society, it's like this has always happened. Like when people are in positions of power, unfortunately, they want to hold even more power in a different way over people. I don't know. And I know that way when it comes to children. I just think it's so evil. It's inhuman. I don't look at these people as human, honestly. And that's the only thing that I really feel that way about because I always say we're all born as innocent babies and something happens along the way that makes us who we are. But when it comes to that, there aren't any excuses. I am from India. Oh, cool. I don't know. How are you, Commando? Did you see Bill Gates in the Epstein light switches? You're gonna say it again. Yeah, Bill Gates supposedly he already said this was not true, right? Didn't he denounce it yesterday already? That was a headline I saw. I didn't see him say that with his own mouth. But supposedly Epstein was trying to blackmail him as well. Somebody said that he was asking for a lot of money from Bill Gates when he brought up the thing about getting an STD from some Russian females. I can't stand the use of like women and girls when it comes to these situations. And anyways, I just think that it's really prevalent. Anybody that I don't want to say everybody, but it's so much more prevalent. And if you've lived long enough, you've seen judges give these people that offend children like such lax sentences. You're like, why do they give people more for having, an ounce of weed on them than for ruining a child's life? And yeah, in my opinion, I do think a lot of them are, it's one of those it takes one to know one kind of thing. Like it is so much more common. And one thing that gets brought up a lot with Epstein is the modeling agencies. It's like, I'm sure it happens now through the internet, but like I heard about it growing up and it still happened to me too, that well, it didn't happen like this, but there would be this cameraman that would walk up to you, be like, "Oh, you're so pretty. Let me take your pictures." And it ended up he was just like some pervert, or like he might try to get you to like, take your clothes off or whatever. He's trying to tell you you're going to get a modeling career from this. And then it happens on a larger scale where it's like companies basically doing that. Like, give us $500. But I signed up for a model with a modeling agency in Fort Lauderdale when I was 16 years old, and I got an invitation to Miss Teen Florida like within a few weeks. It was the first thing that I got, and I moved away actually before I got the first casting call. But I think that it's super duper common. I can't stress that enough. When I know there's been models since what, like the 60s, what you would call like supermodels, people that made their career out of being models. Trust me, I knew I was never going to model like that. I'm too short, number one, and my nose is too big. Okay, let me make sure I'm not losing anything. Um, Good to hear. And same, thanks for asking. Cold said, good. I was about to not get on here, and then I just had a burst of energy. I was like, you know what? I want to get on here and talk about some of this stuff. The pain and suffering building in our nervous system fix our loops, our lives, right? Yes, that's nice, Keith. I am from Kentucky, Commando. I'm from Louisville. I grew up in southern Indiana, and then I grew up somewhat in southern California and Florida. So I've been all over the place. But my husband's from Alaska. Me and him met in Florida, and then we, we lived in Kentucky, back in Florida, back up in Indiana, and now here back in Kentucky. So I want to make a lot more content on Kentucky. It's like this time of the year. And I need new tires. It'll be nice. We'll be able to file our taxes soon, and I'm gonna get a new phone. So I wanna probably gonna be doing a lot. Like I finally made some content on our tiny house that we made. I just made it into shorts because most of it at the time I wanted to do TikTok and that didn't pan out. But I had mostly that, those kind of videos are like horizontal. So happy Saturday, Daniel. How are you? One day I'll come to India. Or are you talking to some? No, Commando. I don't think I'll ever travel. It would be nice to go to India. My grandpa actually lived there for a few years. I'm about to report your little channel because I'm a bona fide hater. Plant-based black man. Okay. I'm sure I've been reported. I'm really not worried about that. Hi, blah blah. How are you? Well, I was starting to talk about how Boystown is this place that's still there. I didn't really explain it well. It's a place where children, it's like a place for troubled teens and orphans. I don't think all these kids have records, but this is a place. It's like a foster care, but a group home setting. And in the 80s, a few people came out, I believe three at once, and this was denied. Of course, they said, like, "This isn't true, these kids are lying," how they were taken to go to these parties with elite people. It wasn't just politicians, it was, like, other elite people, and it got squashed, and then this one man who supposedly had evidence for it, and he was in a plane, and then the plane crashed, and after that, everything kinda, like, stopped, and I couldn't find the documentary for a while, and somebody uploaded it here on YouTube 5 months ago, so that's really nice, and I wanna, like, sum it up. I'm not doing that right now, I'm saying, like, the documentary itself is very poor quality. I like to, like, make a Cliff's Notes out of it, like, this is it's just a thing that happens, and I mean, I heard about it, in probably in every major civilization. It's really unfortunate, but it's just the truth. I think that we're best in small communities, and that's just it's not possible though. We can't all just like uh sit in a small community of 200 people, and then, you've got to spread out somewhat and diversify. You can't be inbred. So I just think the answer is probably smaller communities, but the bigger our population gets, that's part of the end of the cycle. It's just like too big. And in a way, it's too big to fail at the same time. It's like too big to have real morals. It's like the heat rises to the top. It's like the worst people rise to the top most of the time. And it's the average person, like we just want to focus on our lives, our families, you know what I mean? Like, you wanna be a part of your community, but, like, what you really want is, like, for the best thing for you and your family, and when you're, like, a psychopath that just wants more power and doesn't really care that much about the well-being of others, those are the people that end up with and they have said, like, it's, what psychopath, the definition for that, like, it's not necessarily a horrible thing, you know what I mean? Okay, somebody's gonna take that wrong, but, like, when I was reading this article about how psychopaths CEOs do tend to be psychopaths more than the average population, but then it was like, but, like, these are, like, talking about certain traits that, like, if you don't enact upon, like, the bad traits, l like, surgeons have to be a special breed of person. I'm not calling them psychopaths, but they have to be different compared to the rest of the people to be able to be a surgeon and cut into people. But we need those people, right? Like, we need people who are different. So, I even look at, like, in the most spiritual way possible, like, balance. There has to be good and bad. When it comes to like children and stuff, I'm not justifying that at all. But like when it comes to if there is a higher power, why does it allow these things to happen to innocent and vulnerable beings, especially? Like it's because we just have to have the yin and the yang. Like it's just the way nature is, and it's good, bad, and male, female. And I'm not saying boy, girl necessarily. You know what I mean? It's just like the laws of the universe. So, Jesus is still the answer, Scott said. Yeah, for some people, you'll vote for me, Manny. That's funny. Jezebel Vibes is the name of her YouTube channel. She is more left-leaning, but I need to quit saying shit like that because like I don't want to consider myself anything anymore. So I'm gonna quit saying that. She is running for Congress in District 1 in Tennessee. And I thought it was so cool to see somebody like I was not expecting that. And then she said, because I don't even know Christy is her first name. Christy. I don't know her last name, I believe. So it was neat to see somebody that is, I mean, I believe she's younger than me. She's probably like barely 30. And she said, we're all tired of seeing our tax dollars go to nothing we want it to go to. And I'm excited for her. Nature has corrected mechanics. Yeah, it really does. Hey, Fendi, how are you doing? And that's what I have faith in when it comes to like microplastics and all the horrible things we're doing to this earth. Like, I really do think it will cleanse itself, and that means of humans. It sounds like, I don't think we're going to be, well, I don't know, maybe we will be like the dinosaurs completely wiped out, and maybe that is the best thing for it. But, like, is nihilistic and negative as that sounds, I mean that in, like, the nicest way possible because I do believe that our energy goes on, and if that's the way things are supposed to go, whatever our next lives will be somewhere else. We'll be the next beings on Earth. So I saw something really interesting, the scientist lady I follow. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at remembering people's names because obviously I follow like seriously like 1,000 people a day. And she was talking about how they're leaning into reclassifying certain breeds of dogs, or like there's discussion about it. I don't think this is really going to happen really soon, but because some dogs are so drastically different than other dogs that like it it just she just described it better, like a Great Dane can't mate with a Chihuahua, it's almost like the Chihuahua is a subspecies because at a certain point when they can't even mate together, is it the same thing, dog, species? I thought that was interesting. Then I was watching BJ Investigates talk about human cloning or just cloning in general, and she was talking about people cloning dogs. They've been doing it for a long time. A lot of celebrities have had their dogs cloned, and it was super interesting. And they were talking about how they no matter what size the dog is, they'll use a bigger dog and, like, it'll be like a Saint Bernard having a Chihuahua. So I thought that what are the odds in one day I hear things about, like, dogs and, big dogs and little dogs mating? And that's the kind of thing. Hi, signing, how are you? I I know there are coincidences, but I think synchronicity is a sign that you're on the right track, on a good track. And that was my sign for today. Um, yeah, so I uploaded a video on prepping on a budget because I know like most of us are on a budget and a lot of YouTube is great to learn from, but and I don't mean this in a jealous or envious way. I sincerely don't. I'm happy for people that have more than me. I want people to have more than me, but it's just unrealistic examples of off-grid or like they'll even be honest about how much it costs, but it's like who can spend $100,000 like just getting going? Who has that kind of capital laying around? Once again, good for you if you do. And but most people's goal is to not get into debt or further into debt, right? Like I guess if you want, you could charge some of that and somehow take it out on credit. But I think I gave some good examples. Like one thing that I just didn't go into a lot of things as much as I wanted to. I don't it's easier for me to stream like this than it is to record on camera for some reason. But I was talking canned salmon and tuna from this particular brand, Wild Planet. It really is. And you can get it on a flash sale every once in a while. And like, I'm not on Amazon the way that I used to be. But if you look for a deal, you'll be able to find it way cheaper than you ever could in stores. And I've been without power completely, like up Schitt's Creek, didn't have anything to prepare in Florida when I was 18 years old. And it was me and my dad, I'll never forget, it was like apocalyptic situation. There was no water in Publix, the grocery store. I remember the wine aisle was completely empty too. I'll never forget being at a stoplight on Commercial Avenue and the street sign had fallen down onto the ground. One of these huge, giant, like rectangular street signs that light up. If you don't know, Commercial Avenue is one of the main streets in Fort Lauderdale. It was actually where that modeling agency was that I was in, and I didn't do anything. I didn't ever do anything. I was like too introverted and shy. And looking back, it was like honestly, my dad first. His first opportunity at trying to make a meal ticket out of me. He even asked if I could sing, and I was like, "No, I don't think so." And he's like, "Oh, darn, that would have been a meal ticket." He literally said that. So I really do feel for stage kids that had stage moms that really pushed super hard for them to go do stuff like that, because I couldn't imagine not really desiring to do that and then have somebody pushing you to. My dad was more of like trying to plant seeds in my head, like typical grooming stuff. Like you could make so much money with your body. But anyways, so I saw this sign and this guy tried to put it in his car, but it was so big he couldn't fit it in the back seat of his car. And it's just like while I was at a line to get gas at the gas station, and I remember feeling so helpless. And I wasn't like totally hopeless, but just like, when you don't know when the power is going to come back on, the people across the way had power, but we didn't. And it just went on, and having to, you know, It ended after 2 weeks though, but that taught me a lesson. Ever since then, I wasn't unprepared. Like, I always felt the need. Even if you don't think the electric grid is going to go down, it's nice because of natural disasters. Like, you never know. We had that recent ice storm and we were without power for 4 whole hours. I know that's like nothing, but I can't stress enough the solar, the energy thing. I did want to talk a little bit more eco flow. It's a nice if you're like, I am illiterate when it comes to electronics. I've discussed my handicaps before. I think we all have them. But like when it comes to, I'm not good with math, first of all. I've tried really hard to learn about like inverters and I'm just one of these people. It's just, it goes over my head. My husband understands it more than me, but we both felt like we just wanted to plug it go. So I think like the electric generators until we bought one. I think they're pretty new. Hi, Emery. Hi, Mochi. How are you doing? And they are so much cheaper. And it's like everything else, right? TVs, a lot of consoles, not all of them, but things only get cheaper and cheaper. I remember when DVD players first came out, my brother, I swear he spent like $500 on one of the first DVD players. I'll never forget that. And he bought South Park. It was like, he got it so he could watch South Park DVDs, but that's so funny to think about how that was like such a cool high tech thing at the time to have a DVD and not have to rewind and fast forward VHS tapes. It's so funny to think about. And the advances we've made in in just our lifetimes, it really is so significant. Hi, Javier. How are you doing today? Yeah, yeah, Keith. I think I commented on it, right? Or that you're talking about that one. So I saw a clip of Elon Musk talking about how the next thing every human's going to want is a little, what do you call it, like a C3PO, a robot. And it's so interesting to me the way that his mind works. He's literally like a giant child. You give somebody just enough intelligence and enough capital, and it's like, it is a good thing to have an imagination, and that is lost upon a lot of adults. It really is a part, I think, of being intelligent. But I do not agree at all. I know I don't ever want a robot. The only my mind immediately, I'm like, what would I use a robot for that I wouldn't use like my phone or a computer? You know what I mean? Like the only thing I could see myself using it for is to do something I would on my phone or a computer. Well, I thought physical labor, but then it's only a matter of time till it breaks down. And don't tell me those AI humanoid robots aren't going to cost a literal arm and a leg to repair their arms and legs. Like, it's just, it's funny how, and he was also talking about putting data centers in space. This is Trump's punishment for not attacking Iran, so the Epstein files get dropped. Oh, Fendi, you think so? That's interesting. And it's really only like half of what was left. And they said this is it. Like they're not going to release it all. So they really didn't, they still haven't released everything. So I was watching this one channel I've never seen before. So I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. The podcast. It had two A's, this group of guys, and they were going through the files, and as they were like looking at one, it disappeared. Like they're deleting them still. They had all this time, and it seems like apparently they were so sloppy with going through it that they're just now realizing. Like, and those guys are pretty funny. I subscribe to them. I like them. But it is, nothing surprises me. But yeah, if you know any young women or men, because like we need to quit discounting, like this happened to men too. And that's why I brought up the Boystown thing. And there was a young woman involved with that. So there was young girls involved with that too. But it's just sick how people prey. I almost think that people prey on boys. I don't want to say more, but just way more than is acknowledged because it's swept under the rug more so when it's a boy, and it's just as damaging, and it's awful. I think it sets you up, like it can set you up to go down the wrong path, but of course you can heal from that. I don't want to make anybody sound or feel like damaged goods, but I purchased organic water today, $20 a gallon. Orange said, "That's funny, Orange." Hi, Happy. How are you? And I talked about my countertop water filtration, Alexa Pure, and it is kind of not that much cheaper than Berkey when I looked up like recent prices, because the last time we bought filters, they were like $65 each, which I know sounds like a lot, but remember it lasts 6 months at least. And I use that water everything, even the pasta, the water I boil my pasta in, you know what I mean? Like we got a lot of boil water advisories here in like the foothills of the mountains. There's always, it seems like they break water lines a lot. Yeah, but when you think about it, nobody really cares because it's boys, so they be like, "Oh, well, get over it." Yeah, Fendi, I agree, and I'm not just saying this to be a misandrist, but like a lot of his men, like every time I've ever seen a story about a boy being taken advantage of by a teacher, being messed with, there's men saying, "I would have liked it, we would have liked that," and stuff like that, you know? And that's what I'm saying. It's like, but like, trust me, I know some women are just as horrible at protecting kids and boys. You see Chrissy Teigen, you guys, like, I forgot about how sick her tweets were. And I saw this short video where people were talking about, and she was on the Epstein flight list. And then you see some of her tweets were so disgusting. There's no, there's no way there's no joking about this. And yeah, just the average person, it's hard to grasp because thank goodness, like, most people aren't like this. A lizard person. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Keith. I'm really sorry. No, I am not a teacher. Oh, it was really funny. Oh, Keith said a few women and men hurt him. I'm so sorry, Keith. I hope that, I know you're on a path for healing. I hope that you've done as much healing as you can with that. You're as healed as possible, I should say. I had this comment on my video that I uploaded, like the last like political one I uploaded, and it was the handle said FBI and it said, "You are on a list now," and I hearted it. If there are lists like that, I'm already on it. Like my previous, like when I did have Facebook, which has been almost 10 years now, just, trust me, I never didn't have a big mouth. And that's why I was like, I Facebook isn't for me because people don't get in touch with people to like hear about their activism, unfortunately. But anyways, it's why you're a healer and protector. Yeah, that's usually the case, huh, Keith? A lot of people were all on one list. Yeah. So I felt compelled to get on. I know there's not much to say besides like this is been going on for a long, long time. I'm not gonna say as long as our country has been a country, but it's been going on for decades. Epstein carried on a tradition of sorts, as sick as that sounds. They even say that Hoover had file cabinets full of blackmail on people. Like he had dirt on people back then. What was that? I should know. What was that? The 50s, 40s, whenever that was. Yes, actually, Fendi, I just listened to that video that you sent me last yesterday because I had a busy week, but I did listen to it. Would you go somewhere else, Brent, please? You know what? I'm going to be better about using the block button because after a few run-ins this last week, I don't want anybody to feel like they can't express themselves. It's not like that at all. Please understand if I make a post ranting about people, it was like somebody left 7 comments on one of my videos. 7 comments trying to like prove me wrong while not talking about anything in the video. Okay. It was like total Trump derangement syndrome on display. Like I said, it's mutated. It's gone from the extreme left to the extreme right. And like people can't understand. I was so fair in that video. Within 30 seconds, I said comply with law enforcement. Number one, comply with law enforcement. A lot of these stories that are going around about ICE could be avoided if people simply complied. And people are still jumping down my throat about my politics and like being left leaning and stuff. I'm like, I'm not left leaning. I had somebody, Fendi, remember that guy, Jake? Jake? Yeah, I'm going to rant a little bit. So anybody that's not into that, like, I'm sorry. He left me this long message talking about how he's sick of my constant political content and like that's like not what he signed up for. And I have no moral high ground to say anything to a Christian about a Christian topic because I'm not a Christian. Because I said that to, saying if you're going to talk about schmabortion, which that guy was ranting to me about schmabortion protests, and ignore the fact that I was talking about a 7-year-old girl who died in ICE custody because of medical neglect, but you're gonna like rant to me about abortion, but completely ignore the story. Was it because she was brown? because she was a brown little girl and she died of medical neglect. Like it didn't matter because it didn't follow with your narrative. And then the last video I uploaded, he's like, I don't trust media. Oh, yeah, you do trust the media. You trust them when they tell you people are rioting when they're not. Like, I know there has been a few incidences around the hotels that ICE is staying at, but it's not like the riots like from almost 10 years ago. It's not. Uh, prove me wrong if there is. I saw a few dumpster fires, like literal dumpster fires, but it's not like and I was against that, like all the businesses getting burnt to the ground. And I do think that a lot of those were paid provocateurs. But anyways, so and somebody like jumps down my it's like if you don't like content, that's completely fine to express that. But at least support the content that you do like, you know? I'm like, I haven't seen a new comment for 2 months. He's the only person besides Mr. Carey I've gone live with. I went live with him and then he doesn't say shit. I even emailed him and checked up on him and he said, oh, you're like my second mom. How sweet. That's like and then he says he's tired of my content, political content, and like he doesn't agree. He's a moderate conservative. I would almost consider myself a moderate conservative. I'm like, I don't understand what is going on here. These people, like, if you don't think exactly along the exact same lines as them, then they write you off, you know? And like, I don't want to come off as that way towards anybody because that's the whole point. Like, I don't want to be that way, but I do feel very strongly about the fact that like Trump has done such a disservice to our country all over the whole world, even though I do feel like we were probably on this downward trajectory where our dollar was going to collapse and therefore our whole economy anyways. Like I still think that he's just like helping himself and his friends to the cookie jar, like while it happens. And I'm not going to be lectured by anybody about how great Trump is. Like, you know, if you're just gonna be like, I like Trump, I'm not gonna block you. But if you're going to tell me how wrong I am, yeah, that Jake Burnett's, yes, Fendi, him. And then he said, um, well, I'm sorry, Fendi, I'm all over the place. What do you mean by I don't know what I fall under, to be honest? So, and then he said that I'm not going to change jack shit with my YouTube channel and my content. And that's the only thing that did hurt my feelings. It didn't hurt my feelings when he said that about like not being able to say anything to a Christian about Christian stuff, which I think is absolutely stupid. I think that's like really dumb. But so yeah, and he's he there's nothing wrong with coming from a wealthy family, but he's one of those people that comes from uh, eh, wealth. And I think that he didn't probably like the way that I talked about. I don't know how wealthy, I have no idea, but I don't think he liked the way that I talked about how people with a lot of wealth tend not to work as much as people that like the really important jobs we all rely on that keep the supply chain going. Like these things are it's exploitative labor and they really are Trump's policies have been a disaster for our country, Thomas said. I agree. It's only YouTube, Pat said. Talking what politically, I don't know. Talking about politically, I don't know where I fall under. Yeah, Fendi. Uh, it's easy to not want to be a part of any of it because it's all the same, right? It's all the same. They work together for the corporation's interests. They don't care about us. Facts. I come from wealth and I don't do shit. Mr. Wan said. Mr. Wonderful. That's funny. Well, I think, you know, there's pros and cons to everything in life, but in my opinion, I it feels really good to set goals and reach them. And there's just certain lifestyles I'm glad I wasn't born into because I don't think I would have reached certain goals that I did. As funny as that sounds, like, yeah, having less money, I did more. It's easier for a camel to pass through an eye of the needle than a rich man to enter heaven. Yes, frogs physics. Then I've heard somebody try to explain that it had something to do with like there's an actual thing called a needle on a gate and like anyways. But so I don't want to sit here and like just the way that he taught me about I saw a video about a guy raping a horse and but I'm supposed to not be able to vote, you know? And there's men out there that'll stick it in anything, but we're not supposed to be able to vote. But anyways, and yeah, I know I'm not for everybody. I get that. But like I have never ranted at somebody about how I didn't like their content, especially he knows what it's like to make content. And it takes a long time to make videos. If I don't like a video, especially if I can tell it's an edited, well-made video that might have taken them hours, I just move along my merry way. If it's something that is extremely horrible, like I'll unsubscribe. But to sit there and say something to somebody and expect them to change their YouTube content because you don't like it, it's really interesting and a big learning lesson. And I said this like a week ago. I was going to make that last ice video, and that was it. And I had to break it down into two videos. I was like, going to keep making videos on this because, like, the comments, I've never gotten threatened the way that I did. It's clear that this country, they're really, I never thought, if you would have told me 5 years ago, I never thought I'd be saying this. This country is ran by perverted white supremacists. And I'm glad it's burning down in a way. I'm glad that things aren't like continuing to get better for those in charge, especially. But of course, I know that like they've already built generational wealth, and you have your right to your opinions. That's America. Yes, Pat. That's how I feel about everybody. That's what I'm saying. Like I do feel bad. I don't want people to feel like they can't express themselves, but, like, these 2 men in particular basically, like, patronized me and told me, like, how I was wrong, and it's like, we're all just people. I would never go to somebody's channel and tell them how they're wrong. I just wouldn't. But and I think I was really fair. I think I was. So, I had a video that talked about the medical neglect of a 7-year-old deporting a legal college student, causing a 21-year-old to lose their eye, attempting to break an international law by going into the Ecuadorian consulate and leaving threatening business cards known as the death cards, and creating policies around warrants. It's like literally like creating legislations, not superseding, like going around needing a judge's signature on a warrant, that's just huge. One day it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years. I think it'll be about 3 years exactly. People will be like, "Wow, that was so messed up. That was so unprecedented." And if the Biden administration did anything of the sort, everybody that's okay with it now would be able to see, like, how wrong that is. And they did the exact same thing with 911, okay? They told us that our safety was all under threat, so they had to create the Patriot Act. They had to have the right to spy on all of us when, like, 40 years before, Americans wouldn't have put up with that. They got mad at wiretapping, and then they're like, Patriot Act, we all, and things change. If you're young and you don't remember that, I remember flying before 911. I flew a lot because my dad lived in California, and for years we went to visit, and it's just an ID in how different the security was. 911, it was like, um, I agree, Fendi. Oh, thank you, Keith. Why is it always the white women that talk with their lower lip only? Russian, that's funny that you said that because I didn't even know I talked like that until I made videos. And my Colombian grandma talked like that. So I know it's not just white women because I was like, "Ugh, I don't like it, honestly." I was like, I don't know. I look like grandma when I talk. I heard someone got their balls smashed while in ICE custody as a torture method. Oh, that's so awful. Did you see the video? That somebody was outside of a detention facility. There was like women and it sounded like possibly children screaming. It sounded, I'm not joking, it sounded like literal hell. Like if you were making up what hell would sound like, the torturous screams. It's like, what is going on in there? So you give people all the power and immunity from anything they do. You don't think that they're going to SA anybody, allegedly, in my opinion? They probably are. I haven't uploaded it because once again, I didn't want to like make this long ass video and it was the shorts. There, you can look it up, ICE agent porta potty, and there's a video of an ICE agent going into a porta potty with the female. Why would you need to go into a porta potty? And uh yeah, TSA ruined airports, Happy said. It really was so different. Pat said, "Don't worry about things you can't control." I agree with you to an extent. Well, yeah, don't worry. No, I agree with you on that. But it's also for me, I feel at ease when I feel less worry when I'm informed. You know what I mean? But I do you are right, and that's why I love to garden so much because it really is like meditation, and it will take me away from anything if I am spinning my wheels on it. I'm honestly starting to think that Biden wasn't that bad now, to be honest, and this administration seems just straight dystopian. Fendi, that's fine. See, I don't like the way Biden was around children. I didn't like the things he had said about it when this was decades ago, but still, I don't think people change. I think you can change from being prejudiced, but I don't think he did. And he said he didn't want his children to grow up in a racial jungle. And it's like, that's what I'm talking about, like, the white supremacy, like, it used to be more on display, and then we, like, got more polite about it, and I sincerely thought there wasn't really true a lot of them. I knew there was some of them. I grew up in Indiana, home of the Ku Klux Klan, if you didn't know, and honestly, Indiana probably was the place I think I was around the most racist or people that were, like, outright with it at least. Maybe it is just a polite thing, you know? I don't nobody has lawn jockeys up there, though. I have this vintage scarf that's Kentucky, and it's like the state and a bunch of cities and towns, and like it's so cute. And then I noticed there's a fucking lawn jockey on it. Oh, J Star said women who care about this versus doing makeup. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, J Star. It is fun to like do makeup. It is like an art, but I'm not that good at it. And since my eyes aren't symmetrical anymore, I don't really like it as much. Oh, you guys, my second to last video, I put AI eyelashes on me. So I am going back on my thing about using AI, or I did say I would let you know. So like I did this thing where it's like they're not crazy. They look like they could be real, you know, but it put the AI eyelashes on everybody in my video. This was the last ICE video, and so it's like there's, like, some male reporters, like, it's and it was funny to me. So I thought that would add some comic relief, apparently not. I was like, "This is funny, eyelashes for everyone," and then there's, like, still people like, "I can't believe this," and I'm like, I literally said nothing, but I think ICE attracts people. Some people go into ICE because they do wanna bully. They do want to be able to put their hands on people. It's it's just a speculation of mine, and that was, like, the only thing I said that was, like, really biased, right? Deport them was all cool when Hillary was saying it, right? Russian said, "Well, I think most people are okay with, deportation of illegal immigrants, you know, and the criminals. I think anybody even protesting wants, like, the criminals to be deported." But it's just insane. They're getting so many people while at um, immigration court hearings, I feel with all my heart, in my opinion, they have quotas and like instead of like going, that's why they're going to gas stations and random places looking for people. They don't have enough to go off of. So then they're going to get people that are playing right by the rules. And then they're going to make people scared to do the legal thing and go to their immigration hearings because so many people get snatched up. Did you hear about the story where the man from Jordan had a son who had Pompeo's disease, was his caretaker? I mean, the son, it looks like he was like bedridden, and he was begging for the release of his dad. That son died for 1 month without his caretaker with him. And that man was allowed to stay in our country, even though he was technically not a legal citizen. He had to meet at the immigration court once a year. And he went to do that, and then he got snatched up. And whoever is laughing at that, there's a special place in hell for you, for trolls like you, to laugh at somebody who died because they were disabled and they didn't have their dad. Um, Nick Fuentes for president. Oh God, Mike Thompson. Nothing would change. Just know I rock with you for real, Lydia, especially after sharing and talking about what I said in those emails. Oh, same here, Fendi. Like, even if I don't answer back in a few days, like I always do read my emails. Just now that I'm busy with my kids and stuff. But you know, if you ever really need anything, you better email me. Need to raise those quotas, Pat Duck said. Yeah, it's just really interesting, and you're, like, basically asking to get shit on. You're asking for you to not have any rights, but that's fine if that's what you want. I can't change your mind. So, this, what was I gonna say about ICE? Yeah, I think I did a good job making a compilation video, and I did a good job talking about the stories that were false too, because there are definitely stories going around where they're leaving out information, or like that Indian thing. I saw nobody else talk about how these Indians came out and said they were detained and said they tried to get them to sign some kind of treaty, that like DHS was trying to get the Indians to sign some kind of immigration contract. But then they came back and recanted it. They were like, never mind, nobody was taken into custody and they never asked us to sign that agreement. Isn't that weird, you guys? Like, what happened with that? What do you make of that? I feel like, in my opinion, they might have been scared or something. And it's not even about this is bipartisan. This is like I think all Americans should be interested in what is going on their soil. And even if you don't think it's ever going to happen to you, like somebody you know, like one day it might. And even if I was the reason why somebody complied, me and my videos talking about like, yeah, avoid this shit. Like you're not going to evade ICE, especially when they have like tons of them. They walk around in little gangs with 6 to 12 strong. Like you're not going to get away from them. So especially if they're like going to detain you, just do it before you get another charge. Did you hear about Phoenix? It said they'd be okay with people. Oh, they said that? I can't believe that, Fendi. See, I mean, that's just kind of scary. See, I think that's the kind of stuff that they want because then they're going to try to take all of our GUNs away. You know what I mean? I think that Alex Preddy stuff, that was so weird to me how it's like the same outfit and he kicked out a tail light, but they didn't detain him for that. But they detained people following them, but they're not going to detain somebody for damaging their vehicle. That was super interesting. They're going defamation, Mike said. Page impression. Oh, Sunny Steve. I am Dev. I'm gonna read your name like that. Emotional states control and observation will save you. Yes, that's true. Alan Watts, I have a shorts with like when he's talking about being the observer, and that is the key when you are going through mental stuff. You have to learn to become like your own third person perspective. We can stay up late swapping mini stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles, Armando said. I don't know what that's from. Fendi, you know something this could maybe be staged. Yeah, Fendi. No, totally. I'm down to think this is all a psyop. All of it. Just thinking about the details, it just kind of figures, a black man was killed New Year's Eve. Nobody has anybody raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for his family? No. But granted, yeah, he was doing something illegal. He was shooting a gun off into the air. He was doing something he shouldn't have been doing. Once again, I don't think it warranted a death sentence, though. And it's just an example of like this ICE agent who was off duty, apparently, and we don't know who this is. He just like took it upon himself to take care of this, even though he's not. He himself should have called the law. That's the point. Like it was out of his jurisdiction to handle this person in his apartment complex shooting a gun off into the air, and it's that kind of mentality. It's like, you guys, is the Civil War already happening? Like, is it happen? It's not gonna be like the shot. I should know that shot that they say was like the start of the it's not gonna be so cut and dry. It's gonna be like this is a slow burn. It's like that frog in a pot of water analogy where uh and that's what China said. It's not going to be a war fought like other wars. It's going to be psychological. It's going to involve like tearing the country apart psychologically and um, praying for everyone. T Bird said, "Oh, that's nice, T Bird." Oh, it's scripture, Armando. Use the third person position for healing purposes. Keith said, "Oh, T Bird said, hey, hey, how are you doing, T Bird?" I am not a liberal, Robert. I've been a registered independent since I was 18. I lean towards the right. Thank you, T-Bird. 6'7". I wanted Trump to win all 3 times he ran. I've always been transparent about that, but I've been extremely disappointed in him for like a good 6 months now. I didn't really talk about it that much on my channel because I knew there was like Trump supporters, and I'm fine with people being Trump supporters and being here. I'm just not fine with people like literally jumping down my throat and telling me why I'm so wrong to like talk about certain things. And I think even though I don't consider myself an investigative journalist, when I do things like that, I really do try really hard to like list my sources, and like be as credible as possible. I think I did a good job, like, looking up stuff about, the border patrol agents were it was studied. They had put themselves in front of moving vehicles on purpose. I'm not going to say allegedly or supposedly. I don't have to because it was literally studied that they put themselves in front of moving vehicles so much in order to use deadly force to the point where a recommendation in 2014 was no shooting at a moving car. Even if it's moving at you, no shooting at a moving car unless there is something else threatening your life other than the moving car. And I take that as the person or a person in the car is, pew pewing you or something too. Absolutely, you can talk about what you want. Obviously, they are talking about what they want out there protesting. You're a good girl. Thanks, T-Bird. Yeah, and I support people protesting, even if I wouldn't do it. It's like that quote, like I might not agree with what you say, but I defend to the death your right to say it. And I've said things that, like, I'm all over the place, and that's why I won't ever, like, I know I'm not ever gonna, like, really grow as big as I could be if I stayed to the left or to the right, like, I don't think that a lot of these immigrants would be fighting for us. I'm sorry, like, I know that sounds really divisive, but it's just the truth, like, they come here for a better life, and that's great, but a lot of them look at it as, like, this land was stolen anyways, and that kind of attitude. And like when that lady ran into the woman's house when she was door dashing, I was like, shame on that woman. Like she's like putting everybody at risk because they are so trigger happy. But anyways, I don't feel super strongly about much besides all of our rights being threatened. I'm not stoned. I vape those like gas station vapes, but I don't feel anything. You know that here in Arizona, there's walkout protests at high schools, and these Peoria students were walking, protesting, and these MF or 6 foot, 400-pound man was trying to fight the damn students. What? Was it in law enforcement? I'm sorry, who was the 6 foot, 400-pound man? It is nice to see children. There was teenagers. I know I had a video. I didn't put a lot of clips of them. I wish I would have put more where they were one high school, I believe it was Roosevelt in Minneapolis. One of their teachers got detained while students were there, and they were so upset about it. It was like one of the beloved teachers. He's already back. Like he was detained for like a day or two or less than that. But like these kids were like shooken up. Like you think uh I really like this quote. It's like they were trying to bury us, but they didn't realize that we were seeds. And it's like it shows a plant growing. Like that's what they think. They're like indoctrinating these kids with fear and authoritarianism. They're doing the opposite. They're making them see it for what it is sooner than a lot of us do. And they're gonna like, no, this isn't right. This is not America. No, no. And them trying to go into that consulate. I'm sorry, once again, if the Biden administration had people doing stuff like this, it's almost like I do think they're the same point, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like all this was done to like assist Trudeau. Like, yeah, I think it goes that deep that they were like, let's open up the border. That's going to cause the utmost chaos. How can we take away people's GUNs? You know? The kids walking out of school doesn't count. Everyone knows when you were in school, you would have walked out for any ridiculous reason. CR, I get your point, but I think it's really, I think a lot of them are sincerely affected. Like what I was just telling you, I could tell those kids were affected. And granted, it was like 6 or 8 kids, but how could that not affect you? You're supposed to be safe at school. They already got to worry about the school, pew pewings. Um, so, oh gosh, I'm just, I'm what is Blockiana? That's what Lovely T said. She said the same thing. I was gonna make a shorts out of it the other night when I was like, these guys that are like, nobody likes you. I'm like, that's like a feminine thing to do. I'm sorry, you guys have low testosterone. If you're a man and you're saying to anybody, but especially a woman, if you're like, nobody likes you, your family doesn't like you, your friends don't like you. I don't like the way your voice sounds. You need to go get your testosterone checked because it can be it's good for your health to have healthy testosterone levels. I want it for you and all of society. and I feel like that's part of what is going on. You guys know that, like, testosterone levels are going down 1% a year? It has to be something going on with the women and their estrogen. It was just some random guy that oh my gosh. The guy pulled up in his pickup truck and got out having an argument with the students and then tried to fight. Yeah, sassy much. And I wasn't talking about the guys that came at me about my content. I didn't mean it like that. I mean the complete trolls, like complete trolls. But there is something about like when the I've had several men now come at me. Just promise to never come at me like that, Fendi. Like if you ever have a problem with me, just say it. You know what I mean? But like don't like unleash about like all the things you don't like about me in a few paragraphs. Like that's like I feel like these people like, one guy even said it to me, "I thought you were a good woman," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, it's like that parasocial thing, but it's I don't know what about me gives off, like, people wanting to, like, expect, like, I pretty make it pretty obvious I'm pretty messy. Yahusha said unto him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes unto the Father but by me." That's nice boredom. I think the Bible is great, but I'm not religious personally. Ever heard of Grayson, Kentucky? Yes, globalist, I have. I believe that I looked at a property there. Is that close to Clay County, Manchester? If I'm thinking of the right place, we looked at a single wide there, but it was right by a train track. I mean, like really close, which I thought could be cool in a way. It was like this kind of overpass situation. Anyways, uh, really cool property, had a big greenhouse on it. Sometimes I wish we would have tried to go for that, honestly. Why would I come at you like that? I ain't got no problems with you. Yeah, Fendi, well, people are people. If you ever do have a problem with me, just promise, like, just say it before you like ignore me and then unload at me. But it's just been a few people. I was thinking about you and Ty and just I don't think you're like these people. But I was like, times it has a YouTube channel, and I'm not saying they're jealous. I think that they are trying to like control me in a way. Like no, they feel like when I do something that like they wouldn't do or they wouldn't like, they're like more mad at me because do you have a channel that's growing? And like I don't know. Let's give Fendi a big 6'7" T-Bird said. I remember when you dated Hakeem in high school, my friend said, well, that wasn't me. I dated a bunch of boys. My high school sweetheart was a redhead. But whenever I moved down to Florida, and I'll sit here and talk about my exes because I wouldn't want my husband to do that, but I've told this story before. I went on a few dates. He was really nice. It was just like the kind of thing where like we liked each other, but there was no spark, if that makes sense. Um, I thought that he was black, and then we were talking, and he was talking about how some woman thought he was black, and I was like, "Oh, no." And he's like, "I'm some" hold on, now Seminole. I always wanna say Samoan when I'm telling this story. Seminole, Indian is popular in South Florida, the Seminole Indians are from Florida, and, like, that was always, funny to me. But anyways, there's, like, an episode of Seinfeld like that. Elaine's dating somebody she thinks is something, and he thinks she's Hispanic, and then when they realize they're not, and they were like, "Oh, man," they're, like, bummed out. "You thought he was black?" "Yes, T-Bird," like, light-skinned black, but, I really had no idea until he told me that story. I'll give you a 5'7", and I promise you, you ain't gonna like it. Fendi. Sound like trains rolling. Oh, yeah, William. I think I mean, I've actually heard that on video. I've been like a mile or less from a funnel cloud. It was crazy. The sky was literally green, green, green. I mean, it was a mile. One of my classmates' houses got destroyed in that. And my parents were at Walmart and they wouldn't let them leave Walmart. T-Bird sent a 6'7". Thank you, T-Bird. And, this was in Indiana. There's been Henryville, Indiana had a really bad hurricane, what, like 10 years ago. Oh, thank you again, T-Bird, for the second and the third 6'7". Thank you. I really am excited to like, I'm gonna keep talking about topics that are kind of like, okay, what people consider to be divisive. I think I do a good job besides Trump, and like maybe I should just not talk Trump anymore because I almost felt like making the things he's done just this term so far because it, and just to have something to send to when people talk about how they still support him. I just and we did our tax return. We're not getting any extra money at all. So there's that. And they even if he did send us the checks that they said they were going to but haven't mentioned for months, still really wouldn't make up for like we live in a cheap area of living, but even our power bill more expensive, just everything. But yeah, everybody's allowed to bake a pie over the fireplace. I wish I had a fireplace to do that. I wish I had a wood burning stove, like a real cook stove, not just the little one like we used to have. Trump can eat shit. Yeah, I think so too, Fendi. Oh, I okay, so I follow this man. I followed him and his wife. It's this man. I had no idea he was a PhD in physical therapy. No idea. And of course, I can't remember the name of either of their pages. But it's this really cute couple. She has blonde hair and she's autistic and ADHD, I believe. And their page with them together is like him talking about him being neurotypical and her being autistic. And I could always tell he was probably some kind of like just he was intelligent, you know what I mean? And they have like those really nice trade ceilings in their house. And I was like, I wonder what he does for money. So he's been making the circuits talking about how he thinks Trump is going to die within a few months. If you've seen this guy, he's got shaved head and glasses. He was on Keith Edwards, I believe, and like some other outlets, and he's saying that he's showing signs of dementia. And you should look it up to see what the swelling is really bad. That's not good. And the way, did you see how Trump said he gets sleepy? So he just closed his eyes at a cabinet meeting or whatever. And it wasn't, he loves he was just sleepy. And the way all those people laugh and like, oh my gosh, it made me want to slap every single person. I was like, it was like a cheesy laugh track from a cheesy old show. Thank you, T Bird. I think I know what you're talking about. And I've seen that video. And this the PhD guy was saying that's sundowning. If you haven't heard that term, usually around the time the sun goes down in the evening, people who have dementia tend to get like more aggressive and like they're a lot like babies. Like they'll get their schedules mixed up and like sleep all day and be up all night. And it's interesting because if you ever had a colicky baby, they tend to be most colicky around 5, 6 p.m. The human brain is so interesting, isn't it? Um, well, you got to use controversial topics for attention online, graphics. Because I'm really interested in them. I don't talk about anything unless I'm really interested in it. And, look at the stuff that when I do like about a national park or prepping. Everybody wants views, you know what I mean? But I really do get tired of not having any real conversation. And that's where like I you know, give up on the political stuff at. It's been a year. Oh, this mommy stuff is so weird. Okay. So what else? I didn't talk about the prepping stuff that much. I mean, I said everything I wanted to say. It was really about I'm gonna make another video on seeds and go into like the seeds. Probably have two videos. One will be like seeds to save for like a survival situation. Like I'm gonna give good tips you might not have ever heard before. Like for instance, peas are a great thing to grow because you can eat peas at like several stages. You can eat the plant when they start to send off the little shoots. Like, I mean, that just takes like a week or two. Like basically like tips that a lot of people don't consider. And I think when if it really does go down, What good is gold and silver gonna do you really? You know what I mean? I'm talking about if things really collapse. I'm not saying you're dumb for having gold or silver, good for you, it's great, but I'm saying, like, if you can't afford that, most of us can afford, 5, 10, 20 pounds of seeds, you know? And I know that that sounds ridiculous, but it's not, it really can. It's like everything, it's cheaper in bulk. I worry very much about people wishing Trump dies. Do they not have a clue what a religious zealot JD Vance is? William said. Oh, William, that is a good point. And I hope you don't think I was wishing that he died, because I'm not. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But I do think it's really interesting that he does seem like he keeps saying Iceland. He was saying Iceland again yesterday or today. Like, once again, if Biden was doing that shit, people wouldn't stop talking about it. If Biden closed his eyes the way that Trump did at that meeting, that would be on Fox News for 2 weeks. And I'm somebody that leaned to the right for years. Your Wi-Fi is sundowners. I'm sorry, Orion. Am I spinning for anybody else? But that is a good point, William. And I just think JD is a fucking puppet. You know, he wasn't that religious until recently, right? And it's interesting to me, isn't he Catholic? In like the way that Candace Owens turned all Catholic and yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know Jake was on that type of timing thing. He said, "Yeah, I didn't either." He basically told me, "Okay, if anybody watches me regularly, am I wrong? Aren't I like a moderate conservative? Isn't that what I am?" He's like, "I don't agree with your politics. I'm a moderate conservative." I'm like, "What are you talking?" I said, "I'm pro-life, but because of the recent abortion laws, I've changed my mind to being pro-choice. I was always like pro-choice for other women, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I always wanted that choice, but then I'm like, I wouldn't call myself pro-life anymore, knowing that like now they made the laws so that women that are miscarrying can't get the help that they need. Um, Last baby I had, part of the placenta was like retained. Like the placenta came out in pieces a little bit. And like that was something she's like, you have to watch out for that. That's like stuff that women used to die from. And like getting infections from, parts of the placenta not coming out. And it's just that's the kind of procedure that they're not letting women get because it's considered a schmabortion. Why can't they make the laws so that that shit happen? Because they don't care about us. They don't. I believe supposedly that wealthy women, they still get to go get a procedure if they need it. In my opinion, yeah. If you I They wanted me to, you have to get cervical cancer before we give you a hysterectomy. What? But I guarantee, and I even said to one, I was like, if I was a doctor's wife, would you give me a hysterectomy after 5 years of dealing, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of dealing with biopsies and a procedure to remove a precancerous mass? Blah, 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 blah. And she does not represent Kentucky. I promise you, my whole family for the last 200 years is from this state. Okay, Tony Kaiser, you're one of those. Okay, just so everybody knows, PSA, the people from Kentucky that talk about how their family has been here for 100, 200, 300 years, avoid them at all costs. Those are the worst. Those are the people that make the rest of us Kentuckians look bad. Those are the people that think they own everything because their family's name is on a few signs in a cemetery and they've got a lot of land, or they used to. A lot of times they used to, and that's the chip on their shoulder, is like they don't own the town anymore. And then they want to like walk around and talk about it like, you know, I saw the cutest clip. Anna sent me the story, and it was neat. It involved like it was about a family, and this girl went to, I'm guessing it's like a private Baptist school, and it's funded by some Asian man. I'm sorry, I don't know. I think it was Japanese. It said like his parents sent him and his brother to Oneida, Kentucky. It's like these Asian people didn't know anything about the US. He's like, when they sent us to go to school to the US, it wasn't New York City. It was like very small. Um, she atheist? Who are you talking about? Get in my pocket? What the fuck? See what I mean, guys? Denounce the Lord God, denounce God, ma'am. That's what I'm talking about. The people that say my family's been from here, they'll start talking about the Indians, their family knew the Indians. It's like the same thing every time, I'm telling you. And I am blocking you because we're not dealing with your shit anymore. The same guy that was like harassing me, the Henson Creek guy, he was one of those. Mind been gone. Thanks to the membership, whoever gifted it yesterday, I think. Yes, mine been gone. It's escaping my mind. Was it Gloom or Doom? No, it wasn't. Was it? No, it was White Point Entertainment gifted it. I'll try to remember to thank them. But yes, that was nice. Fendi said, "Yeah, you moderate." And that's I guess I'm more anti-imperialist, Lydia. I had asked Grok. Yeah, no, yeah, like the videos you sent me, this was like it is helpful to really look at it for what it is. Like this country was never it was great, I think, for like what, like 2 decades. There was a few decades there where all you had to do was work full time and you could be a homeowner, you could have a nice little life, a safe life for your family, and it was impolite to be flat out racist, white supremacist, and you weren't sitting on the back of the bus or anything. There was a few decades where all people, regardless of skin color, religion, whatever, gender had the same rights, right? And like as good as it was when it was good, like maybe that's the whole point is like it was really not what it we thought it was. I thought I was so lucky to come up in the 90s. Zach, I'm not against immigration enforcement. I am against the unconstitutional overreach that ICE has now. I wouldn't be one of those people that says like abolish ICE, but they have only been around since 2003. So whatever they were doing before then to deport illegal immigrants, it's just like it's so and I always said I have content on my channel talking about we moved from the small town. We owned our first house in southern Indiana because it always had a lot of immigrants. It's a factory town. It's like little Mexico. Like people know this about. I've talked about this town online and had people say da 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 Indiana like and but then, like, in, like, the 5 years before we left, it was such an influx of people. It was about, like, the resources and the traffic. It wasn't that I couldn't stand the Hispanic people, you know? But in people in Mexico feel that way when a bunch of white people move to one of their towns. Hey, William, how are you doing? Great for a couple hundred years. To white men, Nigel, mostly, that's my point is like, so you can't really say that when we had slavery and even for decades after slavery, because black people still weren't treated, black people, olive skinned people, even brown skinned people. It's just ridiculous. And there's this historian, I keep bringing her up because I think about her so much. Hey, Lydia, I'll send you a picture of my results through email so you can see what Grok said about my views. Okay, Fendi. Yeah, that'd be cool. And NYTN is the name of her YouTube channel. She did such a great job. She is like a true educator. This woman is so like she does a great job like it's sharing her personal history, but at the same time being like completely educational about it. And she's a mixed person herself, like most Americans are. And she really did a great job breaking down what is white. Like white encompasses so much, and white encompasses a lot of things that I think a lot of people that pride themselves on being white wouldn't include as white. And it's just crazy, like the difference between like ethnicity and heritage and it, how dumbed down we are when it comes to this. I think that's targeted because she was bringing too much truth to light about the truth about race. That we're all human beings. We're all humans. And that's like, yeah. That's what I've really come to the realization lately. Like I really did not think that our country was like literally white supremacist, but now it's like it's obvious. And then I I don't want to say I feel white guilt. Sorry, smiling real big saying that. But there's people out there that are saying like, well, white people care now that when white people are being unalived by cops. I've been upset over stuff and like trust me, I've been horrified. I believe he might have been Hispanic, autistic man who was nonverbal, and it was obvious this person was autistic and not following the directions of the cop. And the cop shot him from like it was like 50 feet away, and he wouldn't stop moving. And like there's just so many horrible cases of like things that happened that didn't have to happen. That like uh, it's just awful. And then give people the license to do it, to give them, the weapons, a tiny bit of training. And if you didn't know, there's been more than one journalist who has gone undercover to like apply for ICE. It doesn't. It doesn't make me feel, there's a county a few counties away, their cops get paid $15 an hour. $15 an hour. I think that's a shame that there's law enforcement officers, even if it's a little town in Kentucky. I know it's like really poor area. I get that. But like, I almost like, I can't believe anybody would do it. And then I like, it's like both ends of the spectrum. There's probably like really good people that want to do it. I grew up with a guy that became a police officer, and I know he did it because he's a good fucking person. I know there's good law enforcement officers out there that truly want to help. But it wasn't as good as we thought it was. We were coasting on ignorance and potential, Orion. That was said really well. You're right. The potential part especially because we did have more opportunity, and now it's like there's more money than ever, but we have less available. The average person, it's harder to climb up the economic ladder. Keith said, Lydia, have a blessed night awakening, just automatically and naturally adapting, improvising, and overcoming so naturally detect, deflect, and disrupt any harmful intentions as you awaken refreshed. Oh, thanks, Keith. Oh, really graceful gloom or doom. I've been watching her for years. I've been watching her since like before she had her kid. Does she have two kids now? I think she just has one still. I love her. She's in Georgia. She's one of my faves. ICE doesn't have any overreach. You just don't want ICE to do their job, Zach said. Well, I mean, if you want to sit here and debate about that, Zach, I think that I hope I'm proven wrong, but we'll see in due time exactly what they're here for. There's like why aren't they sweeping the streets going door to door in like New York City and Texas and some of these places where there's like a shit ton of immigrants? In my opinion, I think they're like trying to punish Minnesota maybe. And that voter rolls thing, I'm sorry, once again, if it was the Biden administration and somebody from the Biden administration being like, okay, well, we'll do what you want as long as you give us all your voter registration information nation, y'all would be able to see how corrupt that was. They don't really care. Like just the fact they did that shows they're not there to get illegals out. All they have to do is sit in immigration court, and then they're going to make people scared to go to immigration court. It's awful. I think they're also trying to intimidate people into self-deporting, which, like good if you can do it. And you know what I mean. And you were here like illegally and have, you know what I'm saying. It's a horrible situation for some people, I'm sure. But don't they pay them? They give them money to deport, right? But even then, it's like, what do you do once you get there? I think a lot of it happens from little to no training. Yes, mine been gone. I agree. Totally agree. And like, I keep bringing this up because it was really striking. They got that woman out of her car and she's like, they cut my seatbelt. Like, why didn't they just press the button? Like, do they really not have an extra second to press her button? It's like they just can't wait to be like, ugh. Glamour Doom Sack, I'm not saying we don't need a system of deportation. We do, just not nefarious. Yeah. Mad about the budget for ICE, Nigel said. Be mad about the one who opened the border and caused the need for more ICE. Well, why can't two things be true at the same time? Why can't you be mad at both, Nigel? It keeps going back to Biden. Like, yeah, everything Biden did was fucked up. Biden not releasing the Epstein files was fucked up. They're all fucked up. They're all the same. They're all corrupt. They're all perverts. They all only care about themselves and their bottom dollar. They're all the same. I think they're all the same. I don't think Trump's any different than Biden. I was one of those people that was fooled, and I'm completely honest because I want to be an example for people. Like, I thought that he wasn't going to be a typical politician. I thought it was better to have a businessman run the country for once. Maybe then things wouldn't get like that was my mindset. It was like, well, obviously these career politicians don't know what they're doing. And I certainly didn't want word salad Kamala to win. But it's like, geez Louise, shit's gone down so bad that, and I keep saying this, every time it gets brought up, I want to keep saying it. I don't, the farmers around here had Trump signs up like the whole time Biden was in office before, obviously all of Trump's first term, all of Biden's term. And I noticed months ago, they all taken their signs down, every single one. There was a sign on a building in downtown for once again 5+ years, and it got taken down. And it's 'cause people are really his bailout, his like Argentina cattle bailout. There's a lot of cattle around central Kentucky. There probably wouldn't be any money here at all if it wasn't for the cattle industry, honestly. It's how we have most of anything, any nice schools or anything in all of central Kentucky, honestly. There's a little bit of farming, but cattle is really where the money's at. So I'm sure people struggling to make it by hearing about, Argentina, they have all this money for everybody else, but Americans. Uh, well, I don't know why you're coming in somebody's channel talking about a dissenting opinion if you don't want to debate about it. Orion, thank you. Article 2, Section 4, sweep the floor. $2,000, William said. What are you talking about, William? Nigel, this is just some low IQ woman rambling on about things she can't grasp. No, actually, my IQ is pretty high. I think it's always around like 144. I started college full time when I was 16 years old. When did you start to go to college, Nigel? Did you test into a program to start college full time when you were 16 years old? I don't think so. And I had been a little dumbed down, honestly. I'm not. I had, heavy metal poisoning, including mercury and lead and a bunch of other shit. Like, they were like, "Where did you grow up? How do you have, like" they're like, "antimony?" Like, that weird shit. They're like, Did you do welding? Were you around a welder?" Like, so, yeah. Yahweh bless you all. He's the only one. Oh, thank you, Autumn. The vast majorities of deportations have been self-deportations, Orion said. I didn't hear that, Orion. Well, I mean, that's I feel for people that are in that situation, I'm sure it's scary. She should have gotten out of her car when they told her to, Octavia said. Okay, Octavia, she's autistic. You could tell by her, and I don't mean this in I love autistic people. I think they're the best. You could tell by her interview she's an autistic person. So it's a perfect example of why you can't just scream commands at somebody and expect them to act perfectly. Just like we don't know in the moment. We don't get the frame by frame slow motion. The cops are in the moment. You can't, but they never say that about the citizen who has no training for any situation like this at all. She was definitely autistic. There's no doubt about that. And you could tell she was stunned and like, what the fuck is going on? So, yeah, is a mom, an autism mom, that's one thing that freaks me out, seeing this paramilitia walking the streets that gets to do whatever they want. Pepper spray a man in the face, start hitting him with the can of it, kicking him, and expect him to play dead like a possum. Ugh, just lie flat and don't make a move, completely subdue, because that's what you do. That's what you would do, right? If you got pepper sprayed in the face, you wouldn't make any movements at all. Stop letting people in the country that hate our ways and culture. RMR, I don't know if they hate it. I think a lot of them don't assimilate, and I understand being frustrated by that, but I really don't get the vibe that they hate it. They want to be a part of, uh, and people will say, why has no culture. America has no culture. Yes, there is. We do have a culture in America, and that is a culmination of lots of cultures. And that's what's so beautiful and kind of asinine about saying, don't let other people in here. I do get what you're saying about that hate our ways. Well, yeah. When I hear that, I think of like spies from, uh, I don't think all Chinese people hate us, but I just think of like Chinese spies. I don't think about Hispanic people. The cutting seatbelts, like they paying for the repairs, right, Moonshiner? Gleamer Doom, the money shows us no crystal ball needed. Yes. Oh, is this that same it's that guy again. You're using, like, the same handle, Tony. She hates Kentucky. Yeah, I hate Kentucky. That's why I make it, like, half my channel talking about how great Kentucky is. But see what I mean? This is an issue. Tony, like, unfortunately, drugs are a problem, and it's decimated communities, and it's caused these men to, yeah, what goes around comes around. The last hillbilly that threatened me, I'm not saying I didn't okay, I need to shut up. I need to shut up. I wished nothing bad upon him, but you began listening to mainstream media, Octavia said. I listen to all sorts of media, but yes, my favorite are the independent journalists. Speaking of which, we haven't even talked about, I'm talking about like fucked up things going on. That's funny as fuck. They taken down the signs like what happened, huh? Fendi said, yeah, they're like embarrassed. They have too much pride to support somebody that's like shitting all over them. Um, Crap, I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say something. The 2 journalists, Dawn Lemon, and I'm sorry, I don't the other woman, was Georgia in her name? 2 people got taken into custody, what, like 2 days ago, they've already been released, for going to church during a protest. Now, Don Lemon, he I don't watch him regularly, but I saw that video where he, like, had just touched down in Minnesota. He was talking about how he, like, already spoke to this person running this protest, and he was gonna go, record it. And, they tried to go after them on a state level, and they couldn't. I guess a judge wouldn't sign off on it because there's this law that's, like, state and federal, I guess, it's prohibiting worship is against the law, like, stopping people from worship. And so then they go in front of a grand jury federally. They get like it's so sad if you haven't seen it. The woman, there, Don Lemon, and there's a woman, and she has video of them coming. She's putting two and two together, and I think they already knew at that point it was a possibility. But this is the kind of shit, like, once again, like, this will be in history books, or I don't know if things will be so corrupt, the technocrats will have really there's too much verbal, oral information that will be passed down. Be like, yeah, and like people thought it was okay when people under the guise of getting illegal immigrants were terrorizing citizens. And then like they still cheered it on when journalists got jailed. This is our tax dollars. Like, if anything, doesn't it make just the principle of them using our tax dollars to do things like this instead of actually going after actual criminals? That should be enough to make any American like look at it side-eyed at least. You don't have to get all mad. But it made me think like, oh no, this is not good. This is like yeah, me as like a micro, teeny tiny microscopic YouTuber, it trickles down to all of us. We're gonna start arresting journalists for being fucking journalists. You don't think that's gonna affect our freedom? Don fucking Lemon. Then people would be able to see it that can't see it. It's incredible. It's like I know there's always gonna be people that like support either side. I do get that, but like, have you guys listened to anything about the Epstein files? Have you ever seen the movie Nymphoid Barbarians and Dinosaur Hell? I don't think so, doctor. That sounds like a adult movie. Most college people or dummies, Rob. Well, to skip 2 grades and start college at 16, you have to test pretty high, a bunch of tests, and you're not done. But I understand what you mean. Just because you're in college doesn't mean that you are smart. That's true. IQ doesn't equal common sense. Octavia, you're right. Oh my gosh. Yes. I had parents that, like, one was a PhD, had no common sense, and one had a GED and had all the common sense. You asked what the immigrants got if they self-deported. Oh, William, thank you for saying that. 2000. Okay, thank you, William. Lydia comes off as smart to me, but she seems blasted every stream. Oh, Donnie, no, I'm not. You guys, I've been honest. I take kratom every day, but like when you take it every day, you don't feel it. You know what I mean? Like I just take it because I have to at this point. And I used to smoke weed a lot, and I don't. And uh, I've been thinking about trying to go get a medical card because that's like just recently been a thing around here. She was stoned and smiling and laughing and cussing. I'm gonna screenshot this. I want to read this to my husband tomorrow. She was stoned and smiling and laughing and cussing. Well, teach your children and quit using the excuse of autism. What, Doug? What did you just fucking say, Doug? Well, bye. Quit using the excuse of autism. If only it was an excuse. I love it when people say shit like that or like, I would have spanked them. Brr. Like you can spank autism out of kids. Like the sensory meltdown is the same thing as a tantrum. Or um my kid does that too. Oh, I love that's my favorite. My kid does that too. Your kid's not autistic. It takes hours and hours of evaluations by usually at least three, sometimes mostly more professionals, and they all come together like kids don't get diagnosed because their pediatrician's like, oh yeah, you're on the autism spectrum. Like people really don't get that. No, you have no idea what parents go through with the diagnosis, treatment, and everything. And people that are going to be like from the 1950s and say shit like that, like go teacher. Actually, I've had people say my kids do as well as they did because I am their teacher. Tony, we know what you are going to say. NPC Trollbot hate copy and paste Gleamer Doom said, "She should have obeyed directions, but she knew what she was doing." Zach said, yeah, and I don't know who you're talking about exactly, the autistic lady in the car. Once again, when you have different auditory processing, you can't obey directions as easily. When you are somebody who is neurologically atypical, something like that, you're literally shut down and you can see expect out of the billions of people on the planet, everybody's not going to react the same to literally any, okay? And like, this is what is scary. I even had in my family that's law enforcement, where it's like this was from like 10 years ago, where they were training and trying to like make sure, cops knew this. Like it's just there was this one person that said when the lady helped the cop not have a seizure, ICE agent, he was having a seizure. She took his gun out of his holster so she could lay him on his side because she knew the protocol. She had a niece with epilepsy. And somebody in the comments really said, "Oh, they probably got detained because on his gun." And I'm like, "Are you fucking that dense?" She literally said he was choking on his tongue. She had to lay him on his side. So she had to take the gun out of the holster. And yeah, they still got citations. She probably saved the guy's life or greatly helped and still got citations. How did people who said he was a good businessman not know he had bankrupted seven, was convicted of fraud and racial discrimination, even bankrupted a casino, was given 500 million by his dad? Well, the only thing that I can say as somebody who was one of those people, Orion, is like, you hear the same excuses. All business owners have bankruptcies. Bankruptcies are so common. Like it's like this thing that you look down on when you're like the average person. But then people are like, oh, like everybody that's like him has filed bankruptcy a lot. It's like a tactic. It's not a bad thing. They know how to play the game, which is dumb now looking back on it. Honestly, I didn't know about the casinos for a long time. And I think that that's another thing. It's kind of like it, the Mar-a-Lago thing, people just zero and like they hear something and they cling to it and they're like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. So I'm gonna believe that now." He wasn't in Epstein's flight list. He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. And did you guys see this picture of his wife, Melania? I've never seen her smile so big. And besides when she was with Ghislaine, flanked by what looked like younger women, like 6 younger women, 3 on either side of them. It was just so bizarre to me, and I never thought this before. I never had the thought of, like, is she a pervert too? Then it clicked in my head. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what if she was?" It's just so hard as a woman to really think about the women, but they are out there, you know what I mean? It's, like, so he would have made more money if he had invested what his dad gave him in a mutual fund than he did in business, Orion said. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it must be nice. It must be nice to live a life like that and then turn around and tell the rest of us that we don't work hard enough if we're not homeowners. But it costs more to rent. You know? But you literally have to work more. Life is more expensive if you are a homeowner. Most of the time. I know there's exceptions, like if you had to pay for a new roof or something out of pocket. I play video games with Chinese all the time. My friends always shit talk their government. I think the citizens are just regular people. No hate for me. Oh, Donnie, yes. When I said that thing about like Chinese spies, that's why I said I definitely don't think all Chinese people are Chinese spies. They have the same, like you said, they have the same deal with their government. I like to watch this one channel. Of course, I don't remember the name of it, but it's like all documentary style things and stuff going on in China. The judge was an activist judge, Octavia said. Sorry, Octavia. I'm already like, I don't know what you're talking about. Uh, Rob, I thought that you had been in here before, but I'm gonna block you. It's like anybody that says just insult without offering anything. Like if you could, if that's misinformation, tell me what is misinformation, please. Like nobody's perfect. Somebody did that in a shorts and it was a clip of somebody else's video. That's misinformation. And I was like, can you tell me what? Oh, Moonshiner, thank you for joining. I swear I really am. Hi, Steven. How are you? Or Stefan. I really am gonna step up my game and I want to release a members only video tomorrow. I'm gonna do members only lives on Monday nights, but like I'm gonna try to do more for the members. No such thing as luck, the ever loving outdoor said. Hey Snake, how are you? Yeah, I do believe, like I was saying earlier, I don't believe in coincidence. Although, no, there has to be. I didn't make this, Donnie. This is a tapestry from Amazon. I don't have my black light on. Um, Watch, she's gonna blame the no-no people, Kim said. Well, on what? Okay. And neurotypical reactions is important. Not everyone fits in tiny boxes. Yes, Orion. And Gary, Trump and his bankrupt casino, the Atlantic City Club, Showboat, Rebel, and Sands, just to name a few. That's just Atlantic City. None of those were owned by Trump, all bankrupt. So, do you guys that know more about that stuff, do you agree that he might have some kind of vendetta with Native Americans because of that? Because somebody said that, and I just thought that was an interesting point. And that's one of the reasons why, if you like, they are going after. I'm sorry, I do get in a weird mood late at night. I know it's not appropriate. Cam, next channel, we don't need copy and paste bots, Glamour Doom said. Uh, they are picking up a lot of natives, and it's like it sounds like it's a problem. And it's funny to me, people are just now, this is how how much we have the blinders on. That like, and myself included. I'm not saying like I knew it. People are just now realizing that Hispanic people look like natives. Natives Native Americans can look Hispanic. Like you can even see people that like you think like are Asian or Polynesian and they're native. It's like once you know how the world works and where we all came from and everything, it really makes sense. And then like the people that like technically Hispanics are like I was the same way. I just started calling my husband Yucky Indian a year ago when like for years before that I was calling him a quarter Mexican. Are you seriously talking about the fake photos where the photos were blacked out? They were beauty contestants that were all over age, and it was an event photo as previously published. So, are you talking about a fake photo? Because you just went on to say that they were beauty contestants and it was previously published. So it's not fake. All I said was she had the biggest smile on her face. I've never seen her smile so big. Was that fake? Was her big, huge? You know how Melania is. She's like Posh Spice or something. She hardly ever smiles, and she's literally in that picture. So, Lydia, is this channel based out of America that talks about China? If so, then tells me everything I need to know about it. I don't know, Fendi. I honestly, I don't know. I used to follow these guys that lived in China, the two guys that rode their motorcycles around on everything. Do you guys know who I'm talking about? Because I lost their channel and I'd like to find them again. I don't think they live in China anymore, but there was these two guys and they had accents. They were from somewhere in Europe. And they would like show a lot of China and like talk about I think they had to leave because they were talking about certain like political topics. I'm Hispanic and have Native South American heritage, Jose said. That's cool, Jose. Shoot, I got racially profiled just yesterday. Granted, I hope they need Spanish. China said. Lucky you seem like you get all your opinions from Reddit, Dr. Gaines said. Well, no, not from Reddit. It wasn't China's show. I don't know. Josh and Jace. That is what it was, Goats. But was that the name of their channel? I want to hold on. Was it Josh and Jace? That sounds so familiar. I was gonna say their channel was like some kind of initials. It was like X. Uh, I said fake. Do you know what parentheses are used for, right? I don't know what your point is. When all I said was she looked really happy when she was with Ghislaine and those young women, and it just says a lot. Says a lot. But borders are arbitrary. The border cross the people. Most Mexican immigrants, the people don't cross the border. Yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, we have to have borders. You know what I mean? Like, uh, I think they did this all on purpose, though, because what other country could you say like? And I know it is happening to certain countries in Europe. They're taking in a lot of refugees and everything, and like it's just tough. At a certain point, you can't take everybody that wants to come, right? Bald and Bankrupt is a good travel channel. I like your suggestions. I just watched that Richie guy this morning. I'm gonna look that up. It's the China show, dudes that ride motorcycles. The China show, that is it. Somebody already said that. Oh, okay. I, I'm I would have never thought that's what it was. I wonder if they were named something else a few years ago, but I believe you guys. Thank you. I really liked Sam, Article 1, Section 9. What is that exactly? Half track. You're gonna make me look it up. But yeah, that I don't know. I think it's super interesting that a Native American said that ICE or somebody from DHS tried to get them to sign some kind of treaty involving like they made it sound like it involved like their citizenship status or something, in my opinion. And then they went back on that and said, "Oh, no, never mind, none of that ever happened." Like, this is really, really weird. A year or 2 or 5 years from now, if you don't understand my interest in him, you probably will then. Redistricting votes, train addict said. Yes, I think that has a lot to do with it too. They know what they're doing. But it is interesting to me. I was one of those people, I'm not saying 100% for sure, but I felt like something might have been going on with the elect claims was stolen from him, you know? Like, I think, like, there was propaganda. They wanted people to think that because I wasn't about to go to the White House or anything, but I understood it. See, that's like how right-leaning I used to be. And, and looking back on it, the way that they showed people leaving polling places with little, like, remember that was like radio flyer wagon full of stuff, and they're like, "Oh, we needed batteries." What? And they would find like boxes of votes in random places and stuff. The photo was of adults, not minors. So Melania smiling while, and it doesn't seem creepy. It seems like a normal celebrity photo with beauty contestants. Okay, Octavia, that's your opinion. I really don't care what your opinion is though, because you're a bitch. Bye. And didn't I say they looked like young women? Did I say anything about them being girls or underage? I don't think I did specify that because they do look like they could be, but they're barely of age if they are. But anyways, the whole point is she seemed really gleeful, and I think that these people, it's lost upon us. We're in survival mode, just trying to make enough money to pay our bills and like, not get evicted and not get our houses foreclosed on, and to them, it's like they've got so much time in the world that, like, what do they do with their lives? And you can buy everything. Like, if you have somebody in your life that is, like, upper class and it's, like, hard to buy them a gift at Christmas or birthday time because 'cause you're like, "I know they can buy themselves everything they want," and then I feel like I'm not gonna be able to get them anything that's special to them because they do have some, you know what I'm talking about? Take that times a literal million where it's like that person has everything. They could take a private jet to go get restaurant a lunch at a restaurant that they like on the other side of the country, like you live that kind of life, then it's like when a drug addict seeks the initial high that they got, but they'll never be able to get that high again. It's like they want this joy and pleasure from life. We just get off of normal shit, but because they have such indulgences, like they're so monetarily wealthy, they get excited. Just the her being with Ghislaine, somebody knowing what Ghislaine did and who Ghislaine is, and her being that happy to be in her presence said all I needed to know. And I never really thought much about her, but she was like a kept woman. Honestly, I thought she was smarter. I saw this interview of hers, so she was not well spoken at all. Not at all. I thought she could speak English better. And like so she was being interviewed about her movie? This is such a joke. We seriously live in a movie. Scrady Wolf, I don't have TDS, thank you very much. I'm not the one that's obsessed with him. I think you are saying a lot of views. You are slowing down his body. Must be Trump. You people know he can do this, William said. What? Um, Is my internet spotty? Is that what you mean, William? I don't think Trump's going to do anything. No, Trump isn't going to do anything. He's done nothing. He's going to do nothing but help make more money for him and his friends. I don't see how you guys can't see that. I don't see how the average person, besides cognitive dissonance, and like, it's fine. You can think that all you want. Just don't like lecture me about it. We have been intentionally destabilizing other countries to suit our corporate interests for decades, overthrowing governments and causing civil wars and famine, etc. Right, Orion? That's part. Thank you for saying that, Orion, because that's part what I was saying. I was like, it was only a great country for a few decades for everybody, right? And even then, how can we call it great? Fendi sent me a video where this Muslim man was saying stuff like this, and I was like, he's fucking right. while we're taking resources and hurting people all over the world and exploiting them, you know? So how great is that and was that really? So you think he's actually done nothing so far? No, Frank, I think that he did secure the borders, which, you know, that's kind of like bare minimum shit. That's like when a dad gets credit for like being a good dad. It's like he's just doing what moms do every day. But you know, a dad does it and it's special. And I don't think he's done like anything. KJ is telling me to get out of my own live chat. That's cute. It's like a literal, it's like toddler activity. I don't think he would mind me saying this, but my husband the other day was like, "How can he these trolls? Like, what's your thoughts on Iran?" I don't have a lot of thoughts on it, honestly, Frank. There's so much shit going on in our country, and I'm starting my garden soon, and it's just like I know this. I'm just gonna say it. My whole life, it's been. I think we should let the Middle East sort its own shit out. I think that about the whole world, and I know that sounds kind of mean. It's just how I feel. I think we need to stay out of it. Sleepy Joe was a great dad, train addict. Oh, yeah, like when he took showers with his daughter, is she like 11 years old? So, what were we talking about? Somebody told me to get out. They were probably talking about the country too. I think that's funny too. Like you can't complain at all about the country. But I don't think anybody was telling them when they complained about Biden to just move if they don't like it. Maybe somebody did. But, how about the Palestinians? Oh, well, Frank, a genocide like that is an exception. I don't think what's going on there is right, and it's just the end of I mean, if this isn't World War III, what would be? Shit. In, Ukraine, like, that's all awful, and it's men starting wars, men and their wars, men and their war machine, their war making they don't create life, give life, so they don't care to put poor people's sons in wars, and they can like Trump saying that whoever is in here that supports Trump, can you tell me how you support somebody who didn't go to Vietnam, evaded the draft, and then made fun of people who fought as our allies in Afghanistan? Like, it's stuff like that. Like, I can take a little bit and think, "Oh, he's an honest a-hole," like I've always said. I can understand that perspective. I'd rather have somebody that didn't lie, 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 just seeming like a nice guy, and somebody that actually said real shit. But then, like, now, like, some of the stuff that's coming out too, you know, that grab him by the you know what, that he said, and then it comes out in the Epstein files, supposedly he was, like, measuring girls with his hands in that way. So then like you hear like he from his it's easy to collaborate certain things. And I know that's not like 100% collaboration. That's a fact that that happened. But it's like it's easier to believe that it's true based upon his own actions. The shit that's spewed out of his own mouth over the last several years. Uh somebody I looked this up. Somebody said something about this conspiracy theory that he's been like a some kind of like secret agent. He's like, the name of it, I forget now, but I looked it up. I thought that was super interesting. That's from 1987, supposedly. And I was thinking about that episode where he was on Oprah and he said, if things ever get bad enough, I would run for president. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's impossible that like back then they were, I don't know if grooming is the right word, preparing him if he had handlers that they were like, "We think you could be a major player," like, they could see in the 1940s, they were talking about the technocracy and how people that had all the technology and the intelligence for that, like, they should rule the government, and this was almost 100 years ago, 80 years ago, and he's a coward. Yes, Gwendolyn. So did that Muslim Muhammad Ali. Yeah, Jonathan, I don't think Muhammad Ali, did he ever talk shit about allies and war as a sitting president? Hold on, wasn't Muhammad Ali in the military? I should know this. So did Biden. What's the point? The point is, at least Biden would know better. You guys, it's going right over your head. He literally said that allies that fought with us in Afghanistan stayed back. They didn't really fight on the front line. They stayed back. And on top of him saying he likes people that weren't captured, like come on. And I'm not going to say what he supposedly said about soldiers because I don't unless I see him or hear him say, I'm not going to say. But you know, there's other rumored shit that is so disrespectful. And now he's like fucking Sophia from Golden Girls. I really do think it might be something neurological. He was always like this before, but it does seem to be getting worse. He can't say Greenland anymore. It's literally just Iceland. Um, if people, I don't see how you refuse to see what he has done. Well, tell me what he has done, half track. What has he done? He hasn't done anything that he said he would do, and the things that he has done that are good are literally for like a year. The no tax on overtime, I was excited about that because I worked a lot of overtime last year as a factory worker, and then it turns out it's just on the half. Overtime is time and a half, so the no tax is just on the half, so whatever you make an hour, half of that for each hour. That's fuck him. Or it's like a lower credit card interest for a year. It's gonna make it easier for people to buy a house, but you're lazy. You don't work hard enough if you don't own a house. That doesn't make any sense to me. How does that make any sense? He thinks you don't work hard enough. It's people like them, they're a cancer on the planet. People like Trump, people like Elon Musk that thinks we all want personal robots, like, no. Um, People like Frank with low testosterone that say things that they think are gonna be hurtful to a woman because they haven't gotten laid in a fucking year or longer. My condolences to your husband. You don't have to say condolences, trust me. He's fine. He's more than fine. Half track drifter, hey, about outliving us anywhere else in. I think you will have women's rights. I don't want to live anywhere else, half track drifter. It's funny you bring up women's rights when I don't have a uterus because I had a hysterectomy, but the way that women's rights are here aren't on a fast track to nowhere. And then we already have people in my chat talking about repealing the 19th Amendment, which I know is never going to really happen in my lifetime. But it's just funny you bring up women's rights when people are actively trying to destroy women's rights and that shit about not being able to vote without using your name that's on your birth certificate. They know that that's going to be hard for mostly married women. We were all groomed for Trump, Glimmer Dream said. Well, thank you for saying that. And I do feel like, you know, an idiot when I'm like, I thought I had better intuition. I know I do have decent intuition, and I think it's like a muscle. You have to like use it and work it out. You have to trust it and go with your intuition. And like, I thought I knew better when people called Trump fascist and authoritarian. I really thought that they were crazy and overreacting. I thought that women were crazy that they would do anything that they did with what they're doing with our bodies. I thought that women were crazy for being concerned about using period tracking apps or their birth control not being available for them or no fault divorce becoming a thing again, like or getting taken away. I thought all that was crazy and I was wrong. You admitted it's not true, but you repeat it. They investigated it. If he did something, then let the real evidence out. What are you talking about, user? See, I'm sorry, you guys, like, when you say something like that, you admitted it's not true, but you repeat it. What did I say wasn't true, but I repeated it? I was saying what he was saying. I didn't say it. What he said about soldiers being idiots or something that supposedly some journalist said he said, or no, I'm sorry. It was like an army general was like, he called soldiers idiots. I didn't say that. I didn't want to say that, but now you're making me say it with your idiotic comment. Idiotic. He definitely said the shit about he likes soldiers that weren't, you remember prisoners of war, whatever he said, he likes soldiers that weren't captured. What a shitty thing to say about what's his face, John McCain. What a shit human being. He's a piece of shit. He's made fun of disabled people. He's made fun of women so many times. He said the craziest, stupidest shit. We all just let him get away with. In Biden, he was obviously going downhill and we could all see it, but, if he did any of this shit. Um, is Zoran Mamdani really in the files? Emma Saunders, I could have a conversation with you if you weren't. Yeah, okay, so my husband was talking about the trolls. He's like, "I just don't understand why, like, a adult would wanna do like, why? Why do they?" No, you have to feel sorry for people that have literally nothing else to do. "I don't wanna fight a white man's war," Cassius Clay said. Well, he didn't choose to become the leader of our country and then make fun of people who did choose to fight in the wars. You know what I mean? That was really, I respect religious. I think he was yeah, I respect what he had to say about it too, more than bone spurs. And then to turn around and Biden was a sleepy fool. Trump has a big ego. Yes, Lorray. I guess I'm just gonna start. I do not only care about one side. Like I've said so many times, I'm a centrist, a registered independent, and I don't see the people that say shit like that, they're the ones that only care about one side. Because anybody says anything that falls out of line with their very narrow viewpoint, then they like get mad and have to do something about it. I couldn't imagine feeling the need to take it upon myself. That's what I was saying about those two subs I had. And like one was this guy that talked to me almost every day, and I was always real nice to him, and then it's like, and the other one is like, it's trolls or like it's I don't get that. Like I owe you to have the same opinion as you. I couldn't imagine walking around and getting mad at people that didn't think like me and trying to like prove them, and like what kind of mentality that takes. Like Trumpers are materialistic and enjoy the material world like Trump. No empathy, all excuses. Oh, thank you for the 4.99, Thomas Jordan. Keep speaking the truth. Thank you for being an American patriot. We will win this. Fuck Donald Trump. Thank you so much. That means a lot, Thomas. And that's what I feel like. And the person, one of the people that was like telling me, there's like, read the Constitution. I was like, you need to read the Constitution. How about start at the first, second, and fourth amendments? Like, this is ridiculous. I am the American here. And the to have people like that be like, "Why aren't you just let them do their job?" It's like, "Hey, I made a video talking about how that 6-month-old that was hospitalized, those people were there to protest." Like, there's big stories that have made the circles. I don't know how to talk at almost midnight, that have made the news route, and then people don't correct them, like the Indian thing, like that 6-month-old baby. And I know my edited videos don't get hardly any content, but it's like I don't see how somebody could see me talking about the lies from the propaganda, and like how like yeah, a lot of it is left leaning. And like when the Renee Good situation happened, they kept cutting out the part of her wife saying drive baby drive, like they kept talking over it even when they played it, like certain things like that. And like this isn't good for anybody. MAGA incels crying in the chat, Thomas said. I really don't ever want to make somebody feel bad about their life. Sometimes I do, like it stings, and I get off. I'm like, oh, if I said something to somebody that is in a bad place mentally, I really am sorry, and that makes me feel really bad. Either way, AI was inbound, Glimmer Doom said. Technocrats, yes. You're an idiot. You're a idiot. That's horrible grammar. It would be your with an apostrophe R-E and an, like A-N. It's so funny how people that can't even talk, and forgive me if you're ESL or something, you're still a jerk. I don't care. Conscientious objector, Orion said. Release the Trumpstein files. Oh, that's funny, Thomas. Oh, Ray, baby. I don't know. I'm not the vibe for most people. Right now, we're talking about how I was talking about the Epstein files more, but Trump, sorry, I was saying your internet was spotty, but now you said what you did about Maxwell. Goodbye, William said. Okay. There's something I said about Maxwell offended you. Okay. If you get offended by what I have to say about Ghislaine Maxwell, I'm glad you took the trash out. Real people trolls are really good because that's all they do is troll. These types are incels. However, it seems they mix in bots, making it harder to recognize a real incel. Yeah, Gleamer Doom. Oh, the second to last video I uploaded, within an hour, I had two of the most bizarre comments, and I just blocked them, but I took a screenshot of one. But it was just crazy how they're like, I hate you. I'm gonna report you every way I can, and like being super threatening. Um, and it's funny how I'm all automatically pegged as a liberal. Oh my, shut up about Trump. You guys need to care about your life. And if you see someone that needs help, you should help, not video it and bitch about it, John Moore said. Well, ditto, John. Why don't you take your own advice? Go find someone that needs your help. Flooding the comments with fake deception, Gloomer Doom said. Yeah, Gwendolyn, why are you watching it? John, deception is used to cover up lies. Deception is propaganda. Yes, Gloomer Doom. Um, I don't like, oh gosh. And see, I know I have a wonky eye. I know. I also know even with my wonky eye, I still have pretty eyes. Like, I really don't care if I'm less attractive for having a less symmetrical face to people that look at women and their brain lights up when they see in the same area as if they saw a tool or an object, instead of multiple areas, like when they see a man, because they actually see a human being and they don't think of them as just like something to use. Oh, Kevin, I remember you. I never understood this story. Why don't the women just come out and give us the information and tell us who the perpetrators were? They've been on television. I've seen them, so just tell us the names. Tea bags, well, it's the way people treat women, just the way that they talk, even people, uh, 14-year-olds, they were party girls. It's not a good thing you want on your name. There's been like what, over 1,000 victims, and only a few dozen have wanted to put their names out there. I saw one story of one woman who Epstein paid for her college. So I believe her story that he acted like he was scouting her for some modeling or something and talked her parents into, she was 14 or 15 years old and she flew to his island by herself. Like, it's just insane. And you hear stories like that. Like, I don't think anything about those kids at all. I'm just like, why did their parents let them do that? And I have been honest about my past, just the shit that I don't know. I was 18. Um, if you are a woman and you do anything regretful like that, like, you get so much shame. I just don't see how anybody could wonder why a woman wouldn't want that out there on her name, because it's literally, "What were you wearing?" She deserved it, you know? It's like, it's crazy the way women are treated. And as a woman who has been in bad situations, it is easy to tell yourself, "Well, I shouldn't have been there," and you, like, shame yourself, and it holds back healing, and you don't process it like you should because you're just, like, blaming yourself. Is Lexington in Kentucky? Yes, Pooch. Lexington is the second biggest city in Kentucky. Oh, thank you, Glimmer Doom. That's nice. I just got here, so what's your stance? Joseph said. What's my stance on what exactly? I think that Trump's really disappointing, and I supported him for a long time. I used to lean towards the right more, but I don't believe in any politicians anymore, period. I think we're at the end of a cycle, and we're definitely, and I'm not even saying it's going to happen for sure in our lifetime, but like, shit is collapsing. This country isn't going to be a country for, like, 200 more years. I didn't know, so I till you said something, Jay Byers. Well, it's like constant in the chat. And I used to get people tell me constantly, like my teeth were yellow constantly, constantly. And some of you might remember that. And I changed my light setting a little bit. I'm like, I don't have the bright white teeth I used to have. It's a long story. I had fake veneers put on. I didn't know they were fake veneers. This was like not TikTok veneer tech shit. Okay. This was 12 years ago in Naples, Florida. He's like, "You have no enamel," and I think it might have been anyways, those popped off, yada, yada. I can't use teeth whitening strips or whatever, and, like, when I had a crappier light, and then I had this light, I had more yellow on it, and I made it more white, and now not one person in hours of live streaming has said, "Your teeth are yellow." It's just so rude. It's like literal children, and even my children, even if your children are raised right, they won't talk to people like that. You're beautiful inside and out. Thank you for being objective and intelligent. Oh, thank you, Thomas. That's very sweet. Showdown said simp. It's see, and that's why I talk about misogyny. It's like the same. You're just like a good husband. I'm sure you would call my husband a simp. And, I'm sorry to anybody that this is too vulgar for, but I just have to say it. I'm also sure that my husband gets laid literally 1,000 times more than you your whole life. So it's just funny to me, the guys that, like, call men simps, and it's like, oh, like, because 'cause they're not, completely misogynistic and think women, like, if I ever made a ton, like, I know my husband wouldn't be the type of man that would be, like, intimidated by me making more money than him. You know what I mean? Like, he wants me to succeed. He pushed me to do YouTube, not just to get him out of his hair, because he's like, "You really are so well spoken. You need to make videos." Just like a Trump or childish insults, can you recognize that our leaders are just a reflection of ourselves? Since we are jesters, we manifest a circus. Oh, Glimmer Doom, I like that. Glimmer Doom, do you have a YouTube channel? Um, I feel bad if you do and I haven't subscribed. You're speaking psychology, and for the most part, I agree with what you're saying. But however, women on average use most men. User in this world, yeah. I'm sorry you feel that way. And I'm not going to say you're wrong and be dismissive of your feelings. I know that there are a lot of materialistic women. It's just this world. Move out to the country. If you live in a city, you need to get away from the city life. No offense to anybody in cities. I know, like, there's tons of reasons to live in a city, but I'm just saying when men complain about not being able to find like a good woman, I'm just like, I don't know. I know so many like families and couples. We are jesters because we are the children of the lies, Glamour Doom said. I like that. No, you don't need white paint on your face, Kevin. No, you don't. It is never the victim's fault, Joseph said. Right, but it's often pegged on the victim. And that's why, like the statistics, I know it's like, I think women should be thrown in jail for falsely accusing men. Okay. That is something I don't think it's right, but I don't think that it's right to like automatic like women don't come out with allegations usually unless like you usually don't come out with it when it's true. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's like it's a shame that there's women that have done that, and then there's this thing that was like I think a lot of people don't believe the victims. Hey, I sent you two emails. One is just pictures, the other one is a picture and some YouTube links. Okay, Fendi. I will have a lot of time tomorrow. I definitely write you back. What do you think about numerous women, Ghislaine, who helped him and tricked and abused so many fellow women and girls? VS is I admit that's the I'm sexist for thinking this, but honestly, it almost is worse than the men. I don't, and I know that's a sexist thing to say, but I'm just gonna say it. I just feel like women that are perverts in that way or assist in the perversion of the men in their life, they're like a demon. And I'm not trying to be like men can't help themselves. It's just the way they're built. I know that's how it comes off and it's wrong, but I guess it's just how I'm programmed. But it's like a special kind of evil, you know? And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if they're not participants themselves. You know where I'm going with that? I never thought about that because I just don't, because women just usually aren't built like that. But there was a really interesting, was it 4chan or Reddit post that it was turned into a YouTube video. If you look it up, it's like Epstein's employee. It's like 4 years old now. In that video, they said a lot of things that the files have confirmed, a lot that haven't. But one thing they said allegedly, they said supposedly allegedly, there's a lot of celebrities that are, I don't even like saying stuff like this into kids. It feels wrong saying that, you know, when people say, like, child diddlers or child effers, I can't, it makes my skin crawl. I'm like, "No, don't say that." They said Rihanna supposedly liked young girls and, like, so how many people are like that? And, you know, and they know where to go to get whatever they want. It's just, um it's crazy. When you get into proximity of power, it's like they know they're okay. That's, I guess, what gets to me the most is like women, we are supposed to protect other women and children. And when you forego that and you do whatever you can to be close to the person with the most money, and then you think, because you do, therefore you're in proximity to power. You have more power over people. Like them getting off on that, that's just so like the opposite of maternal. And it's the saddest, one of the saddest stories is like there was a it was like a boy and like somebody was there working on something on the island, and this was in that email that was like a, you know, it's like a robot voice reading the post. So supposedly somebody who worked on the island. And there was one time where there was like a young, probably 12-year-old who was like all distraught, and then somebody who was a woman who was like a nanny type came and got the boy, and it's just so horrible to think about. Mm. When I'm having a bad day, I think about people who are like enslaved and how I know it's horrible. How many people are in horrible situations like that, and it's such a blessing to have freedom. Okay, so you're telling me it's okay for a parent to let their 12 to 13-year-old daughter wear skin tight leggings and not expect creeps to look. Yes, they are putting themselves in that situation. Bayside, you are so gross. I'm sorry. That is so disgusting. No, you need to stop conditioning your brain and creating different neural pathways by stimulating yourself to the same stimuli. Like, and therefore, when you see a woman in tight pants, you think things like that. You know what I mean? Because as a woman who isn't like that, like, I don't. And even when I see a man that has a nice body, is scantily clad, I still don't think, oh, he's asking for it, like, I just couldn't imagine. Oh, this dad, of course, I can't remember the name of his channel. He did a lot of, oh, good night, Keith. I hope you sleep well if you're still in here. The name of his channel. He had this, it was just, I unsubscribed from him years ago because he was talking about going to his daughter's volleyball game. Mm. And the way he talked about, like, these I mean, they were, like, 13, 12-year-old girls, and why do they have to dress like that? And then I asked my husband, and, like, I had to, like, pick my husband's brain about it, and he was like, "Ew," and I'm like, "Okay." The whole story to this is finding out who these people were that destroyed lives of young ladies. They know who these men are. They just give us names. Tell their lawyers can tell us. Yeah, tea bags. It's pretty scary to think about. It's like they don't. Oh, did you see the Elon Musk things too, where he like denied he had anything to do with it? And then there's emails about him like asking to go to the island, but he was going with Tallulah, his wife at the time. Robert, what does everyone think about the ice raids? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize how far up I was. Well, I think that they're using it as an excuse to usher in martial law, honestly, Robert Trump. Ted Cruz has an ugly wife, Trump supporter. You must be a libtard. Yeah. If people are here to judge looks, they should go to a beauty pageant. Joseph, it's just ingrained in people's brains. And I already, trust me, whatever anybody has to say about my looks, like I've already thought about it and like gotten over it, and I'm just glad to be alive. You know what I mean? I lost a friend, a really good friend at the age of 34. So nobody can make me feel bad about aging. Actually, like my white hair isn't showing up as much as it used to. I haven't dyed my hair. It's just like the way I part it sometimes it's just less shows. Insult idol equals insult follower. Yes, Glamor Doom, used to for gaming. Showdown, don't make us Kentuckians look bad. Um, you said Trump 20 whatever, 28, didn't you? Yes, you did. Or you said question mark. Well, I'm sorry if you think I make Kentuckians look bad, but I don't think I do. Ask people on internet for advice. What are you talking about? Melania needs subtitles when she speaks. We are a joke on the earth. Stevenson, I was pretty disappointed when I saw her and you know, I'm a granddaughter of immigrants. It's not about having an accent. It's like literal broken English. It's like she knows 7 languages, doesn't she? I'm sure she doesn't really know. She probably can like speak conversationally in a handful of languages, which is impressive, okay? And I've said a lot like I do know more Spanish than I give myself credit for. I just like when it comes to speaking, they usually the person you're talking to speaks way too fast. Hi Barry, how are you? I look just like Bette Midler a long time ago when I was in Las Vegas. Mary Settle said, "That's cool, Mary." User, I go toward evidence when it's involving grape, sexual battery, and whether there's witnesses. I understand that sometimes it's not always witnesses, but you have to be fair. Yeah, usually it's very hard to prove, right? That's why most cases don't get convicted because it is and, you know, I worry about my sons, guys. I, worry somebody's gonna say something about my sons that's not true, or somebody's gonna get pregnant, you know, and so even though I have daughters, like, I still teach my sons, like, "You need to be so careful," and the wrong hopping into bed with a woman could ruin your life. That's pretty scary. It's scary and unpalatable, but sexual attraction and age-related sexual attraction is on a spectrum. It's not the attraction that is criminal or harmful. It's the acts and abuse of power. Yes, Orion. Okay, I'm glad you said it like that too, because right. Like, like I've said, like my husband and I have had these talks. Like he's like, I couldn't imagine wanting to date an 18-year-old. He's 40 years old, but that doesn't mean my husband's never seen an 18-year-old he didn't think was beautiful. Like I get that, right? Especially like women can be so beautiful. And a lot of us are like in our prime when we're young. But that's what is so nice about that's why I feel like if you want to be married, the design of marriage is like I when I look at my husband, he really hasn't aged much, but, like, I still see him, like, as a young guy that you know what I'm trying to say? I asked him if I should dye my hair. He got tears in his eyes, and he's like, "I don't see you as, like, some older woman. I see all the years we've been together when I see your gray hair." Simp. What do you think or what you think of that Nicki Minaj being sent for Trump and the gold card and, you know, she lost, like, millions of followers? Did she shut down her Instagram for good, Fendi? I think that that's ridiculous. I think that it's probably for her husband. I think she's trying to kiss ass to get, like, her husband pardoned or something. I don't know for sure, but I could also see it being sorry, you guys. She has so much beef with Cardi B, And I think a lot of it might come from she's just trying to be contrarian with, like, the people she beefs with the most, you know? I just think that has a little bit to do with it. We need to find a way to prevent people acting out on their preferences if they're harmful to others. Mhm. And I've seen a lot of people speculate I'm so sorry, my throat. Maybe we can help the pedos, and I don't know if this is where the alliance you were going along, Orion, but, like, with the sex robots and stuff like that. And I saw the creepiest thing where this guy had a brothel where he had some of those, and he said it was, like, disgusting and, like, creepy what the men would do. They just, like, brutalize these robots. I used to love Trump, but as soon as I seen him kiss the wall, I knew he was compromised. Oh, Barry, right? I forgot it, like, and he was talking to what's her Miriam Adelson, and he was like, "I think she loves the no-no country more than the US," and they're, like, giggling together, and then they're talking about all the money she gave him. I'm like, "Oh, it's just right in our faces." I mean, honestly, when he was inaugurated and he had all those, like, the Facebook guy and Jeff Bezos, or, Zuckerberg and those people were behind him, I was like, "Oh, shit. Is this better than Kamala?" Moonshiner, that saying they were asking for, "It makes my skin crawl like shorts and tights are comfortable as fuck. Nikki, I lost followers for a credit card. I never would have thought," Moonshiner said. Yeah, you didn't hear that about Nikki Moonshiner? She was, like, on stage with them recently, and, like, it was funny. She had, like, really long nails like usual, and I don't think there's anything wrong with long nails. I'm not making fun of it, but I was like, I bet you he was, like, making fun of her long fake hair and her long fake nails, you know? He's probably making fun of her after they walked off stage. He doesn't look kindly, and she's a beautiful woman, don't get me wrong. Nikki was beautiful before her plastic surgery and everything. I think she's, like, sassfires, I like that, Jerry. Sassfires. Melania speaks 12 languages. Well, she doesn't speak any of them well. Maybe her mother tongue. I don't know, I wouldn't know. But I'm just saying, like, it's just kind of funny, somebody that talks shit about immigrants and is married too, right? And two of his wives were immigrants, and Moonshiner, I already read that. But yeah, it is I'm saying too much. It is nice to have people discussing a broad spectrum of topics intellectually. Yes, I think so too, Orion. Hi, John. How are you doing? This is one of my quotes. It's a hard responsibility being modest when you are awesome. Glimmer. I like that a lot, Glimmer Doom. Now, I used to be like a lot of young people, I was too conceited. You know what I mean? I needed to be knocked down a peg. And that was like before I had kids. And then I had kids, and I just like focused on kids so much and stuff, and then when I first started trying to do YouTube, I did get hurt by troll comments and stuff, and I remember this one lady being like, "I can't stand your voice," and I was like, "I can't stand it either." But now when I get comments like that, I'm like, "Okay, if you don't like something about me, it's just a filter, and we're filtering each other out, and that's fine." It sounds like you are in a wonderful relationship. What a blessing. I'm sure effort went into maintaining it also. Yes, Orion, definitely. There's definitely rock bottoms. It's not easy being married. But that saying is cheesy, but it's true. Like, it's about like two imperfect people never giving up on each other. And honestly, I was just like really lucky to find my husband. He's like, and I feel bad for him, and I do feel like a burden, honestly, because he has so much less trauma from his childhood and so much less to heal from. And like, he never heard his parents fight. I couldn't imagine literally never having heard. They got divorced when he was 8, but he still never heard them fight, you know? Barry, how Trump ordered the wall painted black to burn too at that. I'm sure there's still a sound clip around somewhere of the speaker's Freudian slip, Moonshiner said. I'm doing good, John. How are you? You're still not answering why they won't just give us the names of the abusers. Many people know these names, but everyone's afraid to say them. I'm like, one, give me the names, I'll tell you who they were. Oh, tea bags. I don't have an answer for that besides what I think most people would say is they're trying to cover for people. It's a two-tiered justice system, and the people that have a lot of wealth and money, and I know some people are made examples out of. That's why I almost think like Epstein pissed off the wrong person. Like somebody was trying to like make an example out of him. Like he pissed off somebody because he had so many ties and connections. And the way when he first got thrown in jail, it was like that sweetheart deal where he could leave. MAGA that stay loyal wish they could have visited the island. Lord Feckington said, "Yeah, you're not wrong, probably. I mean, When people cover for pedos, like, I have a hard time thinking, like, "What's in your pet?" Not thinking that, but I know that, you know. I hope you have not become ill, my friend. No, John B, I haven't. I do have a little cold, but I'm fine. My youngest son, has a runny nose. Teabags, Whitney Webb has a better report on the subject. Oh, Whitney Webb is great. Gleamer Doom, yes. I would highly recommend Whitney Webb when it comes to Epstein, for sure. Hi, Scotty Dunn. How are you? Okay, Michael. Is there not a difference between an immigrant who came in legally versus illegally? Well, I mean, yes, there is a difference, Daniel. It is a difference. Glamour Doom, you are a light worker with my lens. Oh, that's so nice. What up? Just got out of work. Oh, Stone Papa Smurf. What true crime case do you want to ask me about? I hope you had a good shift. Walk away. Dem says Trump will go down in history as one of the greatest presidents ever. Oh, truth only. Oh, thank you, John B. The hypocrisy of Trump and MAGA is disgusting. Immigrant wife and everything. Right, Orion? They knew too much, Tom said. Yes, Michael, and they went to the island together as well, Barry said. Epstein knew too much. He played a deadly game, Orion said. Yes, K2, Trump on the plane. I'm looking for something to grab, and it's not going to be Caroline. I don't know what you're talking about, K2. Was that in the, I don't know what you're talking about. Was that in the files? I think drain the swamp meant the people are the swamp. Drain out the critical thinkers. On a side note, Oakland Island has a swamp. Glimmer Doom, that's interesting. Yeah, see, I was one of those people that they knew. They knew that there was people fed up with the typical political system, and they knew what to say. Oh, thank you for the like, John. Hi, John Henry. How are you doing? It's been a while. Just goes to show, Orion, no one's untouchable, Moonshiner said. Yeah, I do. Yes, but I just feel like whenever somebody that has a lot of wealth and connections, no, I don't have pink eye. They they have to, like, be getting made an example out of in order to actually get in trouble like the rest of us. And it's like, super, super interesting, though. I think that we're not going to get the full picture, and I think that did you guys see of course, I don't remember his name, and I don't remember his title, but there was some press conference where this man who was a journalist asked the man at the podium, when are we gonna learn who abused the women? Like, talking about the specific names, I think, and the guy was like, "What do you mean by abuse?" And like, "Oh, no," like, they're trying to, like, gaslight us about, like, it's there's stuff in there talking about murder, isn't there? I went to talk about the Todd Kentheimer case. He had perfect relationship with his wife in this case where he said pipe went through the windshield, thoughts on why he snapped. I don't know that case, stoned Papa Smurf. I don't know that case at all. That doesn't sound familiar. Is it new? You just said there's a difference between legal and illegal, and that just agreed with Orion that it's hypocrisy that he has immigrant wives who came here legally. It's a hypocrisy that he talks shit about like any other immigrants, and you know that if they had to go to an immigration hearing, which I'm sure they could already afford to be citizens, but they wouldn't be treated the same way that the other immigrants are. It makes me wonder if they could achieve cryogenic stasis or somehow immortality, what they're gonna do, blackmail and vendettas. Right, Moonshiner? Like the way that they talk about how they're gonna be able to transfer consciousness to a computer chip or something like that. I think that that's part of what Elon's trying to do with, which it was, we haven't heard anything. It was like human trials for the microchip thing in his brain. And then, like, just recently, he said something about it doing well or something, but it's not like a lot of them were, like, coming out or getting loose, like, I couldn't imagine signing up unless you were a paraplegic. Like, I could understand if you were paralyzed or something like that, you're trying to do it because of a condition you're improving, but, I think that they're putting freaking chips in people's brains trying to do stuff like that, because that would be the ultimate, right? Like, trying to live forever. Also, speaking of incel trolls, they have multiple times send YouTube accounts, they giggle at reactions all night. I know, I couldn't imagine. It's hypocritical that protesters are singling out certain individuals with bias, questioning and claiming they don't belong while protesting ICE from doing the same, but with potential illegals. How are protesters singling out certain individuals with bias? I don't understand what you mean by that, K2. And I do understand both sides. Like, I understand people being like, why are they out there protesting? But I also understand when you see certain things that are happening, I'm like, well, geez, I'm glad some people were around to document that and we can understand the tactics that these people use. We have terrible immigration policies that make people who come here difficult to get papers. Reagan made significant changes to our policies that made it profitable to have immigrants without papers, Orion said. Oh, yeah. I would believe that. And yeah, this is they know. There's like a place where they bus people in by the bus load. This has happened multiple times. One of my family members was a manager there. Had to delete everybody, listen to me, fire everybody when they are like, "Oh, we just found out they have dead people's social security numbers." And like a few years later, it was like, "Oh, they just fired a bunch of people because they just found out they had dead people's social security numbers." It's like they know, like they all complicit, you know what I mean? And if you really wanted to find the illegals, why don't you go to corporations like Walmart? Start coming through there. I bet you'd have I feel bad saying that, but you know what I'm saying? Like they could go through other measures that would probably really help them find people who were sincerely illegal, but they're just like going to the immigration courts. And it is a complicated matter. It is. It's not an easy answer. There's no, do you believe in borders? Yes or no? It's like, we're all here in this really fucked up world, which nobody asked for things to be like this, the system that we're born into. We all need to smile more and be nice to each other. John, that's nice. Redacted had a show exposing dead job bodies giving off router signals. Oh, Glimmer Doom. That's so creepy. I think Buster Scruggs was onto something about laughing at all the meanness between us and the bygones, Moonshiner said. Who's Buster Scruggs? Excuse me. All you Trumpers, what is your excuse for Fauci? Glimmer Doom said. Oh, NB. Boystown is a place in Nebraska. It's like a group home. It's huge, though. It's like this huge thing. And in the 80s, it came out. There's a PBS documentary. A small channel had uploaded it 5 months ago here on YouTube. It was unaired on PBS, but made for PBS. And talking about the allegations, in particular, one politician named Larry King, not the Larry King on TV. This was another man. And so it just goes on and on. The kids were called liars. And then it came out like maybe they're not liars. And then they just like trying to cover it up. And it's the same thing as with Epstein, as these young people starting from the age of like 10, you know, they are invited to these parties with a bunch of elite people, millionaires, politicians, just like upper class people where these kids are like abused. And so this is like very common, especially when it comes to politicians, people in power. It's just really crazy. And like I said, what did I YouTube? I just looked up Boys Town PBS documentary. You should watch it if you're interested at all. Now, I don't get on Rumble that much, but it might have been on Rumble this whole time. I seriously doubt consciousness can be transferred to a machine. It might be able to create a simulation of it, but at the end of the day, it's not you. It's just a mockery. Right, Edge of the South? I agree. I think that our souls, what makes us, like our personalities, like, it's not just like our brainwaves. Like what makes us isn't something that we're going to understand or be able to simulate. And like, okay, BJ investigates clone. I need to finish it. She's talking about cloning. I didn't know this. When they clone animals, they don't necessarily look exactly like that animal. Like if you had your beloved dog cloned, it might not look like your dog. I just assumed it would look like a exact replica. So I thought that was so interesting how genetics works. Even with a literal clone, you might look different. And they usually have different personalities. So you're not getting the same dog, like we can't play God. I do believe that. And I don't Okay, so I'm not gonna say where the line should be drawn, but, like, the more I learn about it, I am kind of against surrogacy, and I don't wanna hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not saying I'm against IVF or IVF babies or, like, I think that they're different like, no, I don't think that at all. But I think all of that stuff is pretty creepy when you think about it. I couldn't imagine having, like, a bunch of frozen embryos out there somewhere. They were supposed to get the worst of the worst, now it's five-year-old elderly and hardworking folks. Right, Orion? Right. I know, that's what and even when I complained about the immigration in the town we lived in, like, they didn't bring crime with them, they really didn't, You'd think he'd be a little mad at the guy who shot him. Maybe they could have been talking. Oh yeah, Moon Shiner, the gunslinger in white from the Ballad of Buster Scruggs movies. I don't know what that is, Moon Shiner. Oh my gosh, you're so funny though. Yeah, I thought I did think I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. But now I'm like, that was fake. That was totally and the way he showed up. That was so fake. You need to watch the movie Buster Scruggs. Okay. My husband likes to watch movies. I bet he'd love to watch that with me. I like turtles too, Catman. Turtles are so cool and how they can live for so long. There's just something special about turtles. I would like to have one maybe one day. People should ask Bill Clinton about Epstein user said, yeah, it's really crazy. Uh, you know, syphilis and diseases like that used to take care of these fucks a lot more. Unfortunately, thanks to antibiotics. I mean, I shouldn't say unfortunately because it benefits all of us, but like, I just think like Bill Clinton would be dead from syphilis by now. Back in the day, cemeteries are now giving off signals. Gloom or doom. That's crazy. So what is it, Glimmer Doom? Is it like people's bodies harboring metals somehow? And if it's in cemeteries and um I know it takes a while for bodies to decompose, but I want to go back to a time when we didn't know what was going on in the world. Thank you for explaining it. And he said, "Oh yes, I saw this shorts. It was like millennials. They say you can't smell pictures, but I and then it was playing like that sentimental music they play a lot in like these like nostalgic things. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like doo, doo, doo. If you heard it, okay, that doesn't what does it sound like. And I started to cry. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. It was like the scented markers, and it was like that zebra gum, just like saying, like, you can smell these things when you think about it. And then I was just thinking about like how precious the 90s was. And even though I know it was a lot of bullshit too. Yes, the bucket of Buster Scruggs at Moonshiner, Orion said. Sick, slick Willie Clinton hiding from the court. Wonder why, Alvin said. Hey, Alvin, how are you doing? Pet cemetery, that's what I think of when you say cologne, user said. I wonder if a clone has a soul, Barry. Have you heard the theory that there's like a finite amount of souls? And it is like once there's X amount of people on the earth and everybody born after them doesn't have a soul, or I guess maybe it's not so cut and dry. But I just think that's really interesting to think about. Or is it like the and I don't want to say anybody doesn't have a soul, but they're different somehow, like the aliens that live among us, the alien race. It would scare most to death if they really knew the technology our government truly has. Yes, truth. Yeah. Um Gleamer doom cloning is appearance. Neurological issues have always been present. Seizures and death in early trials 30 years ago. Now they have Neuralink, Gleamer Doom said. They do. I'm Cali, Minnesota, Oregon, and New York, Alvin said. I wish I could go smoke another one, Lynn. Yes, pre-agriculture, pre-monotheism, pre-patriarchy. Alvin, point is here, legally pay taxes, get a SS number, speak English, get a job. Now, people that do all of that are still getting deported. There's a 21-year-old girl who's a legal citizen, okay? I forget which country she got deported to. I'm sorry. I think it was Honduras. Obviously, she was like Honduran or whatever, but she's in college, got deported, and they're having trouble getting her back. And it was a complete mistake. Somebody in ICE read an email wrong and some like, the judge gave them this thing that said, "Don't deport her, don't deport this person," and they went and took her. She gets put on a plane and flown away. What? Okay, so, yeah, I don't think college is for everybody, and everybody should go to college, but that makes me sad to hear about somebody that was getting a higher education and, like, got shipped off, and then her life is just paused for now. That kind of stuff is happening a lot. There was a that his wife got hopped on in bed at a freaking cruise ship because he has a very common name. I have major trauma from childhood. My dog brings me peace. I don't know what I'm going to do when he's not around. Stone Papa Smurf said, I'm so sorry to hear that, Stone Papa Smurf. We're in the same boat. And I, after losing my dog, I decided we're always going to have to. I know that's so sad to think about, but I don't ever want to be without a dog. You know what I mean? So I'm not telling you to get another dog, but like it maybe it's something to think about. The grave robber got busted stealing bodies in Pennsylvania and 100 bodies. Oh yeah, Alvin, I saw that. That was creepy. Can you imagine the kind of You believe in karma? What kind of karma you're bringing back to you? But I think cemeteries are wild. When you live in a place like we do, there's a lot of old cemeteries, and you just think like there's more people now, but there's less cemeteries. And I know that's because of cremation, and everything, but it's just really crazy to think about. Another early issue with cloning 30 years ago is that the tissue had already been damaged, and return it would clone the damage again 30 years ago. Right, Glamour Doom. Yeah, imagine. I think they probably do have, like, body farms for, like, extra body parts. That one, I'm sorry, was it Rothschild or Rockefeller? I can never remember. He had 6 heart transplants in his own private surgery suite, just like there's, like, a two-tiered justice system. There's, like, a two-tiered medical system too, I feel like. Like, these certain people don't have to get put on a list and wait for transplants. It's really unfortunate. 90s fast food felt healthier. It was. I am. It was. And I forget what year, but sometime in the 90s, McDonald's fried their French fries in tallow, beef fat, which is actually really good for you. That beef tallow, oh my gosh, if we were all eating beef tallow instead of the shit that they, what peanut oil or whatever kind of oil they use now, it's so sad. And that is one thing that is, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably already know about, like how bad a lot of the oils we use and seed oils. Dawn No Soul Simmons had no soul. Rest in peace, Lamont and Catherine O'Hara. Oh, Lamont. Who was Lamont that passed away? I did see Catherine O'Hara. That was so sad. It's sad when people who are, like, close to your parents' age start passing away and you're like, "Oh, this sucks, my parents are getting old," you know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of you can relate. But Catherine O'Hara was Kevin's mom on Home Alone, and she passed. "Love how you can't name the facts," John said. "Well, I love how you are on your own live, naming facts." "No, she was not. Her visa ran out," Half Track Drifter said. "Are you talking about the 21-year-old college student? Because that's not what her lawyer said." They literally had something a judge signed off on that said, "Don't deport her," and they deported her anyways. And they've been just waiting at immigration courts. I just think that's so wrong. And it's sad to me that people are gonna be scared to go do what they should legally now and go to their immigration hearings. The pharaohs want immortality, then the people are of less value, holy grail. If they can't find the fountain of youth or another relic, then a soul transfer to a robot is the next best thing, right? If they're not, like, thinking of, uh, a few minutes of pleasure and where they're gonna get that next, they're thinking about how to transfer their souls to the next thing. That's why we have due process to prevent deportations like that. Good night, nice meeting you. When are you on? Oh, Ryan, it was nice meeting you. I don't have a regular schedule, I'm sorry. I try to go live at least twice a week, though, and usually it's around 8 to 9 PM Eastern. I got on a little later than I usually do tonight. She can't name a single fact. What fact do you want me to name, John Montgomery? Do you want me to name off all 50 states? Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia. You hate dogs, Roma. That's sad. I mean, I respect not everybody's gonna like love dogs, but I think that that's really sad. My son was bit in the face at 6 years old by a Saint Bernard, and he doesn't even hate dogs. When a cowboy trades their spurs for wings is a good song from there too. From that, I took a screenshot. I already forgot the name of the movie. I don't really like dogs. They're cool, but not for me. Yeah, I can respect that. There's been times where I'm like, the older I get, the more I'm like, it grosses me out. Our cat has been inside a lot the last few days, so we have his litter box because usually he's outside most of the time. He doesn't have a litter box in here. And that really grosses me out, having an animal that uses a bathroom in the house. One day I decided I wanted a box of shit in my house, so I got a cat. I didn't see that he had 10 heart transplants. That is crazy. That is sleep well, Orion Moonshiner said. Yeah, live to be 90 or something. Yes, Glamour Doom. Need to show my daughter this. Don't do drugs, John Montgomery said. Well, if I'm the best example you have to show your daughter of not doing drugs, then you haven't been around a lot. Hi, Martin. How are you? How I feel if McD still use real beef tallow. Moonshiner. Extrovert. Oh, that's so funny. That picture, I might have been pregnant with my third son and not know it yet at that picture, but me and my husband went to this like nature preserve and it's just You know you're with the right person when you can just, like, be a goofball, and some of my favorite memories with him are, like, I know, just us being, like, children. We were, like, playing all day. I actually got the closest I've ever gotten to a deer there. I think that was right after I got really close to the deer, and I was like, extra virgin olive oil and avocado oil are the only oils you should be using, butter and fat also. Yes, I love avocado oil. It has a higher cook point than olive oil, so I use avocado oil a lot. And I got almond oil and hemp oil in my cabinet because I got those on clearance and just like any good oils, because I like to use them a lot in my hair and my skin too, Glimmer Doom, like especially the hemp. Oh, and avocado oil is actually great for your skin. It's full of vitamin E. So it's like really and I don't find it to be like greasy, like it doesn't absorb. Thank you for saying that about two dogs. I got my dog from a really good breeder, so I might be able to get a half brother of a dog nook in the future, but I'm committed to taking care of his lineage. Oh, that's really sweet, Stone Papa Smurf. And, yeah, you can open up to me anytime you want to about that, like, trust me, I couldn't empathize more with that. When we lost our dog, Mila, it was the week we sold our first house, and it was sudden, she passed from kidney failure, we didn't it was really sudden, and the vet tried to save her, and he said, "Sometimes this just happens, they can get their annual blood work, and, like, within a year, their kidneys fail out of nowhere, it just happens." I think she was poisoned, I think it was the farmer who sprayed our fence line with glyphosate religiously, and she was barely 6 years old, which, she's half Great Dane, half English Mastiff. They don't have long lifespans either, but 6 years old, and that was, like, right around the time I lost my friend who was 34 when she died, and, like, I will never it was it happened for a reason whenever it happened like that, but, like, we were like, "No more Mastiffs, no more big dogs," so it was too hard losing her so young, but then we went and got 2 more Mastiffs because after a few months, we're like, but once you have a big dog like that, it's really hard to replace them with something other than a big dog, and I mean, they are your family. They are. It's losing a member of the family. My from Sanford and Son Lamont, Fred, son, he passed yesterday. Oh, Sanford and Son. That is so sad, Alvin. Thanks for saying that. How sad. Gosh, this year has like sucked really bad already. I didn't watch Sanford and Son that much, honestly, but I watched tons of Nick at Night, and I saw, like, it was always on after something I watched, you know what I mean? Ace would not be in the street looking for those criminals if they would release them while they're in custody to ICE. Did you mean ICE would not be in the street looking for them, they're release them while they're copying a file of us for a separate database, introducing our soul into a digital as a ghost file into matrix number two in a sense. Gleamer Doom, they are data farming. Hi, Christopher. Yeah, it's funny to me when people talk about like, is this a simulation? I mean, I'm not saying like I'm not God, but I just think it's really interesting to think about like sacred geometry, the way that things are the same, like the way that tree branches grow, like the same way that shells form, and like the bronchioles in our lungs are similar to like the vein. It's just really interesting. I don't think that that wasn't by some kind of design, but I can't make sense of it. Cat, my butt is clean along with my paws, Aces said. I love my cat. You guys are making me want to go get some pets. FYI, y'all, cats have a brain parasite typically in their feces or litter box. I learned this a year ago. Glad I'm a dog person. Yes, Moonshiner. I got tested for that when I was pregnant because I was worried it starts with an M, I think. Yes, you're right. And that is something that's pretty gross. And I've heard all sorts of crazy toxoplasmosis. It starts with an M. Toxoplasmosis. I'll never forget, I was pregnant with a 3rd kid, asked for that in the blood work, and the phlebotomist treated me like shit, and I complained about her. So, you live at your mom's house in her basement with 4 cats, not all in the basement, and this is a big house, you know what I mean? It's like a big house, and we had the basement, and, like, there's 4 cats total, and 1 was ours, and I was like, because I told her, I was like, "I didn't think I'd get pregnant that fast." And I'm like, I've been around, like, a lot of these cats, like, cleaning kitty litter every day." Anyways, um, and we were in our parents' basement because we were buying our first house, and there's nothing wrong with living with your parents anyways, you know what I mean? Oh my gosh, I think that's what more people should be able to live together in this economy. I was hoping to sleep right now, but at 11:30 I got a message to go in at 2 a.m. for snow. Armando, I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know what you're doing. You have to take care of the snow, but I hope you get some rest soon. And thank you for the work you do because it sounds like it's important. Important. Glamour Doom, did you know Coca-Cola's new machine farms data and photos of users? Moonshiner, really? You should review the new Epstein files. Tricolor, I don't have a computer. I really wish I had a computer right now. Because if I did, I just use the data on my phone. Thank God that works as well as it does. But I would love to. And I'm just like watching everything I can about it. Sabby Sabs, if you guys don't follow her, if you like me, if you watch me, you'd like Sabby. She's a true independent journalist and she's so freaking great. I love her so much. She can laugh at stuff, but she's, very informative. If you have a cat, leave it outside. Cat crap on everything. It's just, oh no, a good cat. I shouldn't say that. It might be medical. Most cats don't crap on everything. They like to be clean. I've never had a cat that literally crapped on everything. I mean, they would have to be sick probably. It focuses on facial reactions, I'm told, Moonshiner said. What about, like, all this like, when it comes to facial recognition software, what about the ladies that, like, get their lips done and the fillers in their face? I just wonder how that works with that. When my cat passed, I received a lot of clone pet offers. They use your grief to sell clones. That's horrible, Glimmer Doom, and I'm sorry for your loss. We lost our 18-year-old cat 13 months after Mila passed, so y'all heard there's going to be a football game and Bad Bunny's concert. That's funny, Sergio. Wow, you are the fastest reader I've ever heard of the ultimate mission. And people say I'm an idiot. I know just being a fast reader doesn't mean you're super smart, but simulation theory is really just an updated version of Gnostic views. Gleamer Doom. Yeah, okay. That's funny you said that because I know that's what I've always thought that a lot of the people that say that if they are atheists or like they refuse to believe there is a higher power or it's possible but they think this is a computer simulation. So how do you explain that other than like there's a higher power involved? Toxoplasmosis is right. Yes, I've been married for 16 years, Lisange. Toxoplasma gondii is a common single cell parasite that causes toxoplasmosis. Yes, and it usually isn't harmful unless like with, you have a compromised immune system or you're pregnant. And if you're pregnant and you get it, it can be really harmful to the fetus. Glamour Doom Gnostics supposedly didn't have computers to explain simulation theory in computer terms for our modern age. Ron Bowers, I got cat scratch fever from playing with a kitten. That sucks. Doctor said antibiotics will get rid of it if I might have it for the rest of my life. Low grade fever, swollen lymph nodes under the armpits. The rest of your life? My grandpa had to have a surgery because his cat hurt his finger and it was not get better and like that was crazy. Satoshi, fear ye not, there's a drug for all your microbiological needs. Redbeard, my cat shits on the floor. Do you clean the box? Do you clean their litter box, Redbeard? Including the toxoplasmosis. I know there's always going to be exceptions, but for the most part, most cats will use a clean litter box and they don't use anything else. To alter an image or feature, you need one of two things: letter, aluminum, all fats injections are geometric, Gleamer Doom said. Gleamer Doom face recognition. Yes. Keep cat's litter box clean. They love cleanliness. Perfect. Yes, Michael, exactly. Most identity can be made by the eyes alone. Yeah, Gleamer Doom, that would make sense. That's like a fingerprint. Atheists put a lot of faith into not having faith, Aaron said. Mr. Carey, hey, it's you. How are you doing? Stone Papa Smurf, an amazing book about dog training is How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend by Monks of New Ski. Life-changing book. I need that. It's like I talk about our male dog. He's a good guy overall, but I've never had a dog like him. And then my husband read, he's half Neapolitan Mastiff, and he read, they don't they don't do no, like basically that you can't do negative reinforcement with them, which I'm all about positive reinforcement. That's like the key. And that's what I was telling the people that were on my ass about my political comment. You don't just like tell somebody what they're doing wrong and expect them to receive it well, right? You praise them when they're doing right. And like that's a key to raising good kids, to being in a good marriage, like you need to like be like, "Hey, good job at that. I see you did that. You're awesome. Thank you." And like have more of that than, "Hey, you rub your nose in this thing you did wrong." And um Teeth, cheekbones, eyebrows. Oh, yes, especially teeth. Yes, I've heard no, but like teeth are very much like fingerprints, right? Like, my dog and me after reading How to Be Better Friends, me and Shiner. Oh, retina has a posture. What are you talking about, Glimmer Doom? How long can you hold your breath? Not that long, Daddy Dakota. I used to play the clarinet and I used to have more like lung power, but the older I got, older dimensions, but today they have added additional features, but the eyes are the first investment. This identifies users by few. Okay. How's the weather in Kentucky? It snowed a lot today off the ultimatum. I don't, maybe we didn't get like an inch, but we had some pretty big snowflakes and it's still cold. It's like 10 degrees. Um, Looking at your phone's camera, watching a YouTube. So I swear they were I know this is gonna sound crazy, but it's only us right now, basically. Like hardly anybody else is gonna watch this all the way through to this. I do think that they don't do drugs, John Montgomery says. I do think that they have, people have said this, there's compilation videos of people being like, "I didn't say anything out loud, I didn't look anything up, but it was like my phone read my mind." And then it's like advertising things that like I thought about, and I'm like, "Okay, I didn't wanna say it, I didn't wanna be the first to say it, but I swear that shit's been happening to me for like a year now." And I'm like, "Is it just like some kind of predictive programming, or is it like genuinely they can fucking read our thoughts or something?" Which is crazy to think about. And I wouldn't say that to anybody that I didn't feel comfortable in front of. Lydia has an optional way. Oh, thank you, Mr. Carey. Your knowledge and smile are so inviting. Oh, thank you, Michael. For some. You got a freeze, edge of the south. Do you not have any snow? Because our snow hasn't gone away. It's 23 degrees in Crestview, Florida. Oh, wow. Oh, that's Oracle, but 15 years old, Glamour James said. I think it's been, yeah, just about a year, maybe a little under a year where I'm like, this is really crazy." Or and I understand if you're talking about something, that makes sense. It's like picking you up. I have my silver fabric. I'm going to make phone pockets because I don't do good at turning my phone on airplane mode. I used to be like religious about I am getting hot, turning my phone off every night, and I don't do that. So I'm gonna make a I have this RFID silver fabric that I'm going to make just like a pouch to stick my phone in that will shut off the signal. Actually, y'all know any good ways to stop my puppies from chewing up everything? Moonshiner said. How old are they, Moonshiner? It's just you how I correct them and give them something to chew on, you know? Like whenever they're chewing on something they shouldn't be, correct them, be like, no, bad, and then give them what is good and say good. That's what I would do. But yeah, my boy dog, he is so fucking stubborn, guys. And we were hoping getting him neutered would help. And I know stubbornness comes with mastiffs, but you don't understand. The two girl mastiffs we had were like angels compared to this dog. Like he did it earlier today. He wouldn't come back to us, and it's like, huh, he knows better. Um, he will bark and not stop barking. I've never had a dog that's like such a guard dog, and then he won't stop. He's like relentless, but he is getting better about that the older he gets. He lunged at one UPS man one time, like early advertisement funds, Glimmer Doom said. John, no one cares that your feelings got hurt, Mr. Carey said. You're welcome, Mr. Carey said. They have newer oracles, Glimmer Doom. Google funded the first. I could talk to you all night, Gleamer Doom. Sorry, Mama Kamala lost. I didn't want Kamala to win, John. Haven't you been in here like twice already? I swear I've already blocked like two John Montgomerys. It's funny how y'all have like multiple accounts with the literal same name and it's like your first and last name. I couldn't You're like the literal opposite of me. I could not imagine having multiple accounts to give somebody shit that and this is what me and my husband were talking about. I was like, yeah, see, I think they were like too chicken shit to be actual bullies in school. So they're like being bullies now. And he's like, I think they were bullied. And I was like, oh, you're right. they they're keeping the chain going. They've become what they hate. And they're like going and saying things. Bitter apple spray monkey business. And I had that and I've heard mixed things about that. But yeah, that is that is something to try. Gloom or doom. AI predicts thoughts and some actions that can alter your train of thought into a useless habit hole if you don't catch it. Yes, gloom or doom. That's what I was saying, like, the Charlie Kirk stuff, and I know that a lot of that's propaganda and, like, media loop I could get myself off of, but if puppy chewing everything, he needs more walks and exercise would be first guess. Stone Papa Smurf, that's yes. That very good advice. See, I'm used to mastiffs. Mastiffs don't they need exercise, but they don't need exercise like some dogs do. They sell it at Petco, the bitter stuff. The suggested videos are extreme. I can watch a movie on mute and YouTube will pull it up for hearing something in the background for a few seconds. Gleamer doom. The suggested videos for are you talking about on YouTube? At the cross was more than enough for Jesus. Oh, Joseph, thank you. Gloom, I tend to agree, Carrie said. A good 4 months old, they are really playful. Aw, I'm trying new objects for them to interact with. Yeah, that's a tough age. I just know from the few puppies we've raised, they usually grow out of it and then they have like another little teething phase when they're an older puppy and then they get over it and then you're so glad they're not chewing on everything anymore. But you guys, it, that my dogs really like stuffed animals, but they literally within 5 minutes, the stuffing is out. Like, I'm not kidding at all. I can't get any toys that they won't destroy. Manipulation of thoughts is darkness. Spiritual decisions may be affected, morals tested. Glamour Dame said, I used to have a problem with my dog chewing on the couch. Turns out he just wanted to get his toys out from under edge of the South. That's cute and funny. I'm glad you figured that out. Eric Beal, do you like people of color? I love everybody, Eric. I'm not racist at all. I speak out about racism a lot on my channel because I think it's just so ridiculous to me. As somebody who was raised right, like I think I couldn't imagine looking down on somebody because they're different, darker skin than me. And I if anything, I actually I don't know, I feel like black people have been oppressed because if anything, they're the superior ones. And I know a lot of people aren't gonna get it. I don't care. Hi, Shaquille, how are you doing? Staying off the grid. No, I don't sizer women, or you mean scissor? No. My husband is all I need. Hi there, how are you? I don't know how to say your name. You were in here the other night, weren't you? How are you? They're outside. I can't spray everything outside. I'm sure they've started in on soda cans now. Oh gosh. Yeah, okay, that's true. If they're like outside. Well, do you crate train? One thing that I am religious about crate training, and it's the kind of thing that's like, if you, it's not cruel. They like it. They're like den animals. They like having their little space. Like my big dog, like he gets put up in the laundry room when we put him up. We don't have a crate set up in here, and it is big enough for him to turn around and spread out and everything, but it's not that big. And he goes and lays down in there like by choice when the doors open. And I'm like, I wonder why. Carrie said, warning, if you're going to come in here, please come correct. If you come here to troll, you will be timed out first time and banned second time. Consider this your only warning. Moderators are watching. Yeah, Mr. Carey, I was being, before you got in here, I was just being a little bit more um Lockiana with it. And, just after a few incidences, I blocked Tim. If you guys are regulars in here, there's this guy, Tim Watkins, that's been coming in here for, like, a year or more, and I just decided to block him. I think he's a troll. I think he's been fucking with me this whole time, and I'm sincerely sorry if he isn't, but I'm just, like, such a nice person. When somebody is nice to me, I'm gonna be nice back to them, but it was just like he kept doing this thing, like, a cycle, like, the same thing, and I was like, "I think you're a troll. I think you might be that queen, that fishing queen person or something." And then, just having people that I thought, just because you like my channel doesn't mean you have to agree with everything I say. I can't stress that enough. But the way that they talk to me, like telling me how like they're disappointed in me from data farming on social platforms, notice the censored barriers are less farming, more data. Yeah, that is a really good point, Glimmer Doom. I never thought of it like that, but you're right. Oh my gosh, you're so right. Oh my gosh. So, and like now with TikTok, it's funny how people they're like, they must have gotten all the data they wanted. The way they're like cracking down over there, finally at the point where I can disappear from life and no one would notice or care. I've always been told I'm worthless, didn't think it would hit this soon. Anyways, have a good stream. Big Gravy, are you still in here? Please, I know what that feels like. I'm sorry, Big Gravy. It's something that I wouldn't wish on anybody, but I'm sure like however much you feel like that, it's not true. And just you know, don't choose a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I really do think that it can be a blessing to not have. tons going on in your life as far as like a social circle and family. Like a lot of my family is dead, and I know it's like sad, but it's kind of like focus on yourself. Do whatever makes you feel happy and fulfilled. And life is too short. And I think that there's a lot of people that are better on their own, and some people that are on their own, they don't want to be on their own. So I empathize with all of it. They've dragged a ceramic boot to who knows where now, Moonshiner said. Oh my gosh, a ceramic. Okay, so yeah, the crates, Moonshiner. I don't know if you want to try it now, but I'm telling you, it, they're like kids. They need routine. And ask yourself, is AI going to be allowed to give us free energy? What about the cure for cancer? Heck no, right? Right. Glimmer Doom said, Moonshiner, big gravy. May I interest you in the downfall of pedo pimps and plague perpetrators? Shaquille, I'm doing good, and you? I'm doing good, Shaquille. I'm glad you're doing good. I wanted to sound like a guard dog, Mr. Carey said. Oh my gosh. He is crazy. Monkey business, right side is lower than left. Eyes of, yeah, at monkey business. Everybody, every 10 commenters talks about that. And I asked a doctor about it, and he told me that I was being vain, that everybody has asymmetry to their face. And I was like, but my eye didn't used to look like this. That's what's concerning because I know it could be neurological. And guess what? Nobody cares. I've had 2 sinus repair surgeries, a lot of shit going on with my teeth and dental things, mostly because of bad dentists. So I don't know if that's why, but I don't really care. And this is like if I saw somebody and saw a physical flaw or what I consider to be a flaw in them, which it was few and far between, because I think like scars are cool and add character. Like a few crooked teeth are cool to me. It takes a lot for me to consider something a flaw when you really do believe that the a human being coming into existence and their body functioning, all the things that go into a human being being alive and functioning, like we are walking miracles. If you're here right now, you are a living miracle. It's like if you look at life like that, and instead of because I've done the same thing, especially in the morning. It's hard for me to like wake up and have the kind of attitude I want to have, right? Like a lot of people. But if you look at life right, you will be grateful for just like waking up in the morning. I would put a sheet over front, back side of the crate to make it a little K for my dog. Yeah, Stone Papa Smurf. I would do that too. And yeah, crate training has been great for us. Honestly, our girl dog Layla, she's just got put in the laundry room. We didn't have a crate out for her. We didn't really crate her. We got her when she was almost 6 months old though. And she was not trained. She came from a house where there was like an elderly woman who had health issues, and she would jump up on her, and that was an issue, and she would jump up on our furniture. We don't let our big dogs on our furniture. They're too big for that. And so we untrained her. We trained that out of her, like jumping on people and jumping on furniture. Not really crate trained. I never shut the door on the bed that they have in there. They roam around at night. I'm sure Moonshiner said that sounds so cute. Yeah. It sounds like you've got your own routine going, and that's cool. I respect that. But if you really want to, I'm telling you, crate training really is where it's at. And then they get used to it. One way you can get them used to it is feeding them in there. But anyways, building, boosting AI manipulation abilities, Glimmer Doom said. Yeah, I think you're right. And that's something that I didn't think about, Glimmer Doom, but you're totally right. That's one reason I don't like using Instagram or Facebook, just giving them the license to every picture I upload. Like you're giving your rights away to your pictures, even your pictures of your kids. Like once I heard that, I was like, I can't do this. Thoughts on why Innocence Project is working on Scott Peterson's case? Stone Papa Smurf said, yeah, how do you feel about that, Stone Papa Smurf? Because I just think it's so obvious he did it. And I've heard mixed things about the Innocence Project. Like they've done shit like this before where it was the case of somebody who there was a lot of evidence stacked against. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if it's just a high profile case and then they get a lot of funding for their organization just because it doesn't make sense to me. If you guys don't know about the Scott Peterson case, he said he was going to go golfing that day, right? And then he got on the boat, or was it vice versa? It's like, what are the odds that he would lie about where he's at, be having an extramarital affair, and just happen to on the same day his wife, which the only other thing in my opinion that could have happened would have been like she got taken while walking her dog And that's why you don't cheat on your wife and then lie about your whereabouts and all this and that. You never know what's gonna fucking happen. Just like, gosh, my brain is shutting down. Just like the guy that had his knee on the neck of the other guy. I know I'm being ridiculous right now. Even if he did die from a fentanyl overdose, I need to go. That guy shouldn't have had his knee on his neck, and that served all cops need to know, like, don't put your knee on somebody's neck just in case they happen to die of a drug overdose with your knee on their neck. Like, jeez Louise. Oh yeah, they got windbreakers and their cages stuck in there, Moonshiner said. Remember all those hero movies where they had to fight a clone of themselves and mirror images will be AI soon, a reflection of ourselves. We will battle for ground. Oh yes, Glimmer Doom. I do totally believe in predictive programming when it comes to a lot of that stuff. Same troll, different name, Glimmer Doom. It would be like Mr. Carey, why is your right man boob bigger than the other? That would offend me. Oh my God, Mr. Carey. That's so funny. One reaction equals more comments, block them, and they make new accounts. Yeah, I love being able to I get excited, like, when I found Disturbing Illusions channel and channels like that, like Sabby Sabs, I get excited when I find people that I'm like, just like, yeah, we're on the same path, but I don't think we think 100% alike. But, like, I'm excited to see what I'm gonna learn from them and what they're gonna say next. I couldn't imagine I think it's just it has to be a low IQ thing, like, going to just hate on people and not learn anything because 'cause you're not learning anything. Sounds like you need a new doctor. Just make sure it wasn't currently happening event. No monkey business. Yeah, that doctor, like most doctors, is very dismissive. You have to be like on your deathbed as a woman for a doctor to take any of your health issues seriously. Seriously. I, for one, welcome our robot overlords if if they'll recycle and match inflation for wages, Manchiner said. Axel, you must have blue eyes. One blue way, the other blue. Okay, I can't even read comments. I need to go soon. When I can't read, you know it's bad. Make robots pay our taxes. Yeah, the thing with the robots is like people are talking about automating manufacturing. We need I've worked in factories and you need to maintain the robots. Like there needs to be people that just do the processing, just do all the little start the machines and stop them at the end of the shifts. You know, these robots are big, complicated machines. There's this whole process, and these guys would have like sheets of paper, like several steps to turn these machines off and on, or change out change the stuff out in them. And it's not like when Elon was saying we could all have personal robots. Like, yeah, that sounds nice only for like physical labor. But then what happens when your robot breaks? You know, we can barely afford to pay our annual car registration. I can't afford a fucking robot repair anytime soon. They're so out of touch. Like, they're so incredibly out of touch. Yeah, you're right, Glimmer Doom. Hello, Hidden. Jesus loves you. Shaquille, thanks. I'm 38 years old. I'm turning 39 in March. I'm not gonna say what day. I probably shouldn't even say my birthday's in March, huh? I guess if somebody really wanted to try to figure out my birthday, they probably could. Whatever. I know, looking to create training. I don't know how well it'll go with their guard dog duties. They bit my mom's plant, whose sap isn't irritating. They still bite random stuff. Yeah, it's funny. Um, Sounds like they're just in that like puppy phase and they'll get over it. My brain shut down years ago, Carrie said. So the fourth horseman, his wife was never found. Whose wife are you talking about? My brain's already moved on. Her eyes are just the way God created them, Carrie said. Stone Pepper Smith, I think Peterson is guilty. The reasonable doubt is if the house across the street was really being robbed at the time of her going missing. Also, van with bloody mattress that was found a fourth of a mile away. Yes, thank you for reminding me of the mattress. I know it. So I do understand, but yeah, it's one of those cases, man. Like you really need to be careful. Lesson learned: three types of people: leaders, followers, and observers. The leaders fear the observers. Erica Badu. Oh, I love that. Gloomer Doom. That's so true. Like, oh my gosh, those two journalists getting arrested. Like, seriously? Like, what country do we live in where when people say, why don't you just move? It's like, I feel like I have. I don't have to move anywhere. This country's already changed so much. 20 years ago, the future was bright. And it's like now the wages are the exact same as they were 20 years ago. But it's your fault if you don't get into debt 50, $100,000 to get a better job, you know? and then you have your high debt. Not everybody gets into debt, but you know what I mean. Most people have to get into debt to go to college. Who's to say the robo overlords won't be controlled by a man? Yeah, Edge of the South. Hidden never responded, Glamour Doom said. I was born in 88. I was born in 87, Stone Papa. If you want to observe the unseen control and strategy against the people, I suggest reading The Art of War. I've heard that a lot, Glamour Doom, The Art of War. I've heard a lot of people recommend that. Thank you, Johnny Bones. A nice comment. The future is even brighter now. Not for most people. But I think that's the whole point of my channel. Like, I'm not just here to be like Chicken Little, the sky's falling down. I think that we can create a better future. To look at the glass as half full. Maybe this all happened because we were meant to create something better. The systems, it was funny, I called it the rat trap on one stream. I was like, we're part of the rat trap, rat race. Is, the cycle we would have been in if things would have, the wages would have increased and we could have afforded more. We could have all been like little consumerists and like kept this thing going maybe even longer. And then what, like because of my health issues, what happened to me when I got a 2009 H1N1 FLU SHOT when I was 23 years old and became horribly ill that night. I was in the ER, slept on my bathroom floor for 2 weeks after that, had a baby, and he was in his bassinet in the bathroom with me. That's how sick I was. And then I realized like it was depressing for a while. It wasn't like overnight. It took me a few years. But then I realized what a blessing that was because it made me stop looking up to doctors like they're demigods and know so much more. I know they know so much more than me, don't get me wrong. But you know what I mean? Like that they literally have the answers to my health issues. And like once you get past that and you realize nobody's here to save you, including the government, including doctors, medical professionals. And don't get me wrong, there's great medical professionals out there that just want to help people. But I'm talking about like complex autoimmune issues and you come out the other side of that and you realize there's something liberating about it. And there's a kind of attitude. I wouldn't be the same woman if I hadn't been through all of that shit and realized that like I can take care of myself. I am smart enough to learn about how the human body functions on a cellular level and do something about it. You know, like help myself. I can help my children. I can be their advocate. I can advocate for me. I can not be so affected and be crying on my knees in the street, depending on who wins the presidency this next election, because whoever it is, I'm not going to be that affected by it. Am I super interested in politics? Yes, I am. Like, obviously. And when somebody was going off on me about my content and they were like something about like how it doesn't affect anything or something like, oh, hold on a second. No, yes, this does. Yes, this everything political affects you. And yes, I even one of the videos, like the video they commented on, I talked about a Kentucky GUN law. My channel's about Kentucky. I'm talking about Kentucky a lot. In anyways, I'm sorry. 76, Carrie was born. Yoda again. If you want to observe the unseen control and start, oh, I already read that. If you want to, okay, you made the same comment twice. That's my excuse for reading it twice. If you want to observe the Holy Grail, read the Epic of Gilgamesh, author unknown. Yes, Glamo Doom. I read one book on this channel and I want to get back into reading. And I keep telling myself I'm going to read Robert Johnson's book, it's Jungian psychology. It's about like male and female relationships. No offense, but the only future, oh, I'm sorry. The only future I want is one without a left leaning party, the Lion Pack said. Well, I think we all need to balance each other out. And both parties ideally balance each other out. I don't want there to be neither, you know? I'd like for the extremists to stop being so extreme. Not me trying to crack a joke with this nice old lady about I should have invested in real estate or haterade as a kid instead of goofing off in a sandbox yesterday. Oh man, Shina. Scott Peterson's sister-in-law has become a lawyer and has dedicated her life to trying to get him out of prison. I didn't know that, Stone Papa Smurf. Hold on, you say his sister-in-law, so it's like one of his siblings' wives, I take it. Because for a split second, I was like, hold on, is that Lacey's sister? I need to go to bed. Well, thank you for the nice comments, but even if you spam nice comments, you're going to get blocked. If I remember correctly, said Epic is the oldest known literature. Yeah, it troubles me daily. Old guard versus a new guard student versus census. Sensei, am I saying that right? Immunology is a, or Moonshiner said that. Immunology is a large field, one that even the experts struggle to understand. Good luck figuring it out yourself. Yes, MV. Oh yeah, and I couldn't figure out immunology. You're right. That is so our immune system, they don't even know everything about our immune system, you know? And when they started making these preventative medicines, they didn't know about Th1, Th2, Th3 parts of the immune system. They don't even know if they knew about blood types. Maybe they did. But it's just, getting to okay, what I took away from that and learned and what I benefited the most from was, like, what you put in and around your body matters, you know, and I learned about a lot and people around me thought that I was being, like, overly paranoid or whatever, but the way I see it, if I didn't take all the steps I did, I might have gotten cancer, and I know this isn't healthy. I do wanna get another microphone, and I appreciate the people that bring it up because I know that they are well-intentioned. It's just I'm gonna get a new phone. I'm thinking about getting an Android again so I can use the wires too. If you want to observe the witchcraft going on, I suggest learning about John Dee and reading Manly P. Hall. Yes, Manly P. Hall. Yes, I would like that. Mr. Carey, thank you. I appreciate you. My cousin keeps wanting to do the grown-up stuff with me. What do I do? Oh, there's always like these troll questions that it's like the same archetypes. If you want to observe manifesting, I suggest Masuro Emoto, Hidden Messages in Water. I've never heard about that one before. I heard about the others. The less you, uh, thank you, Mr. Carey. I didn't even read it. You can't say the C word on YouTube. All right. Well, I didn't expect to be on here this long. I don't know if I'm going to be on here tomorrow or later tonight, technically on Sunday night, but I gonna start doing these like I don't know, we'll see how it goes if anybody wants to watch it. For members only, just like some talking videos. Such a dumb thing to say. Like where it's just gonna be like a video, but it's gonna be like the snow falling outside while I talk. And we're gonna like start taking like certain topics and breaking it down. And it's going to be homesteading. It's going to be, yeah, thank you, Adeline. You have a really pretty name. I studied psychology at UMass. I later found out that Sigmund Freud was a brother-in-law with Edward Bernard, the father of propaganda. I no longer take psychology serious. Stone Papa Smurf. Yes, that's really interesting. And did you know how much of Freud's stuff that they picked in like they picked what they wanted to show of his work. You know what I mean? There was a lot of shit that he said that was like really off the wall that they just chose to like and I do understand what you're saying, but I love Carl Jung and I'm sure you know about Carl Jung, but I really do believe in the like female, the anima and animus and like female and male or masculine and feminine side of things, you know, and I think that explains a lot too. Have you read Eliphas Levi, the OG? His work has stuck with me for 3 decades and remains relevant. No, I have not. It's like, did I just say something dirty? I don't know if you made me say something funny. But like I do so recently you know, and okay, I don't wanna give any detail. I mean, I'm, like, going through evaluations for anything, like, whether it's, like, ADD, autism, like, the and I know it's necessary, like I said, it's hours and hours and hours of evaluations, talking about my 8-year-old, and, like, some of the questions are like, "This wouldn't even if he wasn't autistic, this wouldn't be possible." It's like, "Does he use his debit card when he goes out places?" What? And it's just, like, so many questions, like, "Can't you have a test for an 8-year-old?" And, like, certain things like that. Like once again, it's necessary to get help sometimes to get the therapy your kid needs or whatever. But like, oh my gosh, there's been so many times where I'm like, this is all so stupid. And who is making the parameters? And I just read The Archetypes of the Unconscious by Young. Oh, cool, Stone Papa Smurf. So you haven't written off all psychology, but I do understand what you're saying. And Candace Owens actually made a great, I don't know if it was a series or just one video where she talked about all of that, Sigmund Freud and the propaganda and stuff. Okay. Well, it was Mr. Carey is really funny. It was really fun hanging out with you guys. And so honestly, I'm feeling like guilt now wash over me just talking about I don't want any subs of mine to think that, like, I'm gonna talk shit about them, but I hope you understand, like, just don't leave 7 comments in a row talking shit to me. Uh, I hope everybody has a good night, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Love you guys. It was nice talking to you, Gloomer Doom. Thank you for all your input, and Stone Papa Smurf, I hope you rest well. And everybody else, Mr. Carey, I'm glad you got to come in at the end, and Shaquille, Moonshiner. Love you guys. Good night.